would like to request everyone to have a moment of silence to remember one of our colleagues, our beloved Rex Lor, who we lost yesterday. Si Rex ay isa sa pinaka ma- magaling na nakasama namin sa Benilde from 2016 to 2019. Pagdasal po natin ang kanyang kaluluwa at ang kanyang mga naiwang kamag-anak.
Let us remember that we are in the holy presence of God.
Let me be the change I want to see. To do with strength and wisdom all that needs to be done, and become the hope that I can be. Set me free from my fears and hesitations. Grant me courage and humility. Give me the spirit to face the challenge and start the change I long to see. Today I start the change I want to see. Even if I'm not the light, I can be the spark in faith, service and communion. Let us start the change we want to see, the change that begins in me. Today I start the change I want to see. Even if I'm not the light, I can be the spark in faith, service and communion. Let us start the change we want to see, the change that begins in me. Live Jesus in our hearts forever.
Our Lasallian prayer. We will continue, O my
Oh my
God,
God, to do all my actions for the love of you.
Saint John Baptist de la Salle,
Pray
Pray for
for
us.
us.
Saint Benilde Manson,
Pray
Pray
for
for
us.
leave Jesus in our hearts.
forever.
All right, so good afternoon, everyone. I am Camille, Learning Support Case Manager of the Center for Inclusive Education, and I will be your host for today's webinar. Once again, I'd like to thank you for joining us this afternoon. I would also like to give a special shout out to the National Teachers College, Treston International College, St. Teresa's College, Quezon City, Philippine Women's University, Pamantasan ng Lungsod ng Muntinlupa, Sabo College Foundation, Academe of Donna Christine, LaSalle University Ozamis, De La Salle University Manila, and De La Salle College of St. Benilde, Manila, and Antipolo campuses. Of course, to all of our educators, parents, and students here. Now, to start, I would like to introduce and welcome Mr. Cliff Chua, Learning Support Unit Head of the Center for Inclusive Education. Let us all welcome Sir Cliff with a virtual round of applause.
Hello, everyone. A pleasant afternoon to you all. On behalf of the Center for Inclusive Education and the Center for Educational Technology, I would like to welcome each and every one of you to this webinar entitled Inclusive Hybrid Teaching and Learning. As we are slowly transitioning back to on-site classes, this webinar is very timely in helping us build the culture of inclusion here in the college and in the world around us. I hope you take the time this afternoon to listen to our esteemed speakers and panelists as they share their expertise on this topic. Once again, thank you for attending this webinar. Enjoy and have fun. Thank you.
Thank you, Sir Cliff, for the warm welcoming message. Now, let me introduce to you our guest speakers. Our guest speakers are from the Center for Educational Technology of Benilde. Sir Rogelio B. Dalcano is a board-certified teacher who majored in business technology, a graduate of the Master of Arts in Computer Education, and is working on his dissertation for his degree in Doctor of Technology. He is a full-time faculty member at the De La Salle College of St. Benilde, a Google teacher, productivity tool trainer, a corporate trainer, an SQL server, and an integrated cloud service user, and of course, a project manager. He has an experience in writing business and IT policies, creating IT manuals and curricula, and researching. His research interests include teaching, learning and assessment, as well as big data and data mining, e-inclusion and the digital divide, and competency assessment. Presently, he is the OIC Director of the Center for Educational Technology, or CET. This center handles the advancement of the entire Benildean community's teaching and learning technology. He helps with strategic planning, leads integration projects, and generates data visualizations and reports. Above all else, he balances his professional duties by joining advocacy groups through SMIT's corporate social responsibility activities. Architect Nandi de la Paz has taught for over 16 years at his alma mater, the University of Santo Tomas, following a brief corporate stint in the design industry. Since 2014, he has been teaching at De La Salle College of St. Benilde's architecture program, where he has also served as its former program chairperson. He recently earned his Master in International Business degree from Benilde and is currently serving the CET as its coaching and capacity building unit head, while also concurrently teaching architectural research methods and business management of architecture courses under Benilde's School of Environment and Design Architecture program. With more than a decade in the academe as an educator and trainer, Jen Adriano has been designing and implementing learning-centered courses and training modules of different topics for both students and employees. From 2010 to the present, he has been facilitating student learning through lectures, activities, and mentoring both online and on-site. Courses include psychology, sociology, human behavior, design thinking, innovation, and content creation. For almost a decade, he has gained the experience of applying knowledge in creating LC learning modules for adolescent to adult learners. Currently, he oversees the empowerment and culture building of faculty members in developing learning-centered instructional design to address the need for a sustainable and flexible mode of teaching and learning. On top of this, he is currently tapped as a resource person for the team that spearheads the institution's drive for innovation for inclusion. His clinical psychology, teaching and learning graduate studies backgrounds, and his experience as an innovator mentor have provided a rich perspective on creating effective and inclusive learning experiences and solutions. Rio Valsenio is the Assistant Head of the Learning Environment Development Unit of the Center for Educational Technology. He is the point person regarding LMS updates, integration projects, maintenance and administration, and exploration of features and functions to provide solutions or opportunities for the stakeholders. He is a full-time faculty from the Theology and Philosophy area of the School of Multidisciplinary Studies. Attorney Shai Juan Monera is a full-time professor at the School of Diplomacy and Governance under the Diplomacy and International Affairs program. She is a mother of two and a wife to one. A graduate of law, she is the managing partner of Juan Monera Attorneys at Law and is also an advocate of the rights of women and children. This advocacy leads her to engage in volunteer work in line with her belief that her skills and knowledge in the law must be shared to those in need. Attorney Shai is a certified rescue diver who believes that the Philippines is beautiful topside and below sea level. As a member of the CET-CCBU, she aims to help her co-faculty and associates through training and mentorship. And she is also a certified plantita who tends to her own garden and farm whenever she has the time.
Hello, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Can you hear me?
Good afternoon.
Yes, you can.
Checking you guys.
Hello, once again, we would like to welcome you. We are the CET team. We call ourselves citizens. So, yeah, the CET citizen. Okay, so we are here to show you, to present to you the results of our survey. And along the way, as we share the results of our survey from our students and teachers, we will also have some discussions as to the reasons why we got that survey result. So I'll be sharing my screen now. So before I show you the results of the survey, I will first show you the questionnaire.
USB audio.
So I'll be sharing my screen now.
Yan. Hello, ayan. Okay, better. Sige, I'll share my screen now. Ayan kung lalabas ano. Ayan, lumabas naman siya. So, what I'm sharing you right now is our questionnaire. We conducted this survey last February 10 and it lasted for around 18 to 20 days. So, so bagong-bago itong survey namin na ito. Ayan kung lalabas siya, no? And so we are experiencing technical difficulty as to showing our results. Ayan. Reshare. Sige, I'll stop again. Ayan kung makakapag-stop sharing din ako, no? So, I will reshare. Ayan. So, sige, habang hinihintay natin yan, ayun, lumabas din siya. So, ayun nawala naman, ano? Oh, wait lang. I'll share again my screen showing the same survey questionnaire. So, as I was saying, we conducted this last February 10 and until this morning, until today, we are still receiving surveys, no? Or answers from our poll. Okay, ayan. So wait lang po. So the reason why we conducted this survey so that we would know exactly how our students, their perspective as well as the perspective of our teachers. So the title of our survey was Teaching Learning Methodologies, Various Methodologies. Okay. So the first thing that the the respondent will see here would be if he is a teacher or he is a student. So of course, we would not know if they exactly or they honestly answer the questionnaire. So all we can assume is that they answered honestly. Yeah. Ayan, okay. So this is the first question. Are you from Benilde or from Antipolo? So let's say Manila, and then are you a student or a teacher? So let's say a teacher. So click on next. And then after this, another screen would appear. Because I selected teacher, so this is what will appear if I were a part-time, full-time, or other. So I will click here full-time. And then from here, the first question now is, do you feel that our institution provides the necessary resources and support for accommodating individuals with disabilities and or learning differences in your teaching and course design? So let's say I say yes. And then from here, this questionnaire or this survey ask if the teacher has a fully online class, hybrid class, or blended class, or even face-to-face class. Now, to give you a background, majority of our offerings today are on fully online courses. Okay, so that's the majority of our offerings today. So, according to CFAD, fully online is any form of learning conducted wholly over the internet, done synchronously or asynchronously. So I say, do I have fully online? So I don't have fully online course now. So the selection here will depend on what load has or what load the teacher has right now. So ayan kung makakaselect ako. So ayun, makakaselect naman. So no. So if I say no, then it will prompt me to the next question or with the next question, which is, do I have blended? So the answer here will vary depending on the load assignment of the teacher. So a teacher may have fully online and blended or fully online or hybrid. It will depend on his assignment. Now, let me show you if let's say I was a student here. So if I was a student, so I will click on student there and then click on next. And then it will prompt me if I am a junior, senior, frosh, etc., etc. So let's say I'm a senior student. And then the first question here is, would you say that your instructors are accommodating to individuals with disabilities and or learning differences in their teaching and course design? So let's say yes. And then, do you have fully online class? So let's say I don't have, or if I say yes, I click on next, and then it will ask me questions pertaining to fully online class. So once I completed this, another set of questions will be asked from me if, let's say I have blended, or if I hybrid, if I do have hybrid classes or courses, or if I have fully online classes. So again, the answer of the student may vary depending on his enrolled courses. And now for the results, that is where we are going to have our presentation and at the same time our discussion. So we could wear different hats here. We could wear, as when we have our discussion, we could wear the hat of an ed tech or a teacher or maybe a student as well. So right now we have 434 respondents. Okay, so we did not ask for their name. We did not ask from what program they are. So we just ask if they are frosh, if they are part-time or full-time, and if they are teacher or student. So that's what we ask. And you will notice here, below here is the breakdown of the responses, starting from February 10 until today, until right this very moment, the questionnaire or the poll or the survey is still open. So as of now, we have 434 respondents, and the blue area here is the student, and it's 86%. So if I click on that, so we'll see here Frosh, Junior, and among others. Ayan, ito po sila. Ayan. Tapos down here below, sige, click ko lang siya. Medyo mabagal lang siya. Wait lang po natin. Ayan kung lalabas. Ano po? Ayan, okay. So ito yung breakdown. So, well, sandali lang po. Medyo mabagal siya. Ayan. So, unfortunately, hintay-hintayin lang po natin para I will be able to show you the breakdown of responses here. Ayan. So, for the students, there are 373 respondents and they are frosh, junior, senior, sophomore, so on and so forth. Okay, and this is the breakdown of their responses. For the teachers, on the other hand, so there are 61 respondents. So part-time, full-time, and GL is guest lecturer. Ayan po. Nasa isip ko kasi general ledger. Ayan. So ito po yung this is now the breakdown of our respondents. So moving on, now that we know the demographics of our respondents, so I'll show you naman on the other hand, ayan kung sandali lang po medyo, ayan, okay. Mabagal siya. So, if this one appears later, so what we will be seeing here is another chart about the combined load assignment and enrolled courses of students and teachers. So pag pinagsama po yung load ni teacher, yung na-assign sa kanyang load, majority, ang pinakamarami talaga kasi that's the majority of our offerings this term is online. Tapos 36% blended. Konti lang talaga yung hybrid namin. And we will be targeting the hybrid experiences of our students and teachers later on. So if I click on the student here, ayan po, ayan yung na-enroll ng mga students namin. Yan yung maraming courses nila. Again, majority is 47%, which is almost 48% online pa rin. Pag teachers naman, on the other hand, ganun pa rin, marami pa rin yung online yung na-assign sa kanilang load. And then we have here blended learning and the hybrid learning. Okay, so yan po yung condition meron tayo ngayon. Majority of our courses are online, fully online. But as I've said, we will be targeting the hybrid classes or learning. Okay, so first question. Dito na po kami magkakaroon ng discussion. So I will be passing on the microphone to my colleagues here. For the first question, sabi dyan, would you say that your instructors are accommodating to individuals with disabilities and or learning differences in their teaching and course design? So 373, we have 373 respondents. Sabi nila, majority sa kanila, sabi, yes. Ayun, yun lang. Close ko to. Sige, yes. Sino sila? So how many are they? So 265. And majority of them dito, tingnan po natin sa right side, more on Frosh yung nagsabi na na yes, our instructors are accommodating. Yan po. Tapos, yung nagsabi naman nung ito, yung I do not know, yan, ito sila, 100 sila lahat-lahat. So we have Frosh, 43, yung Junior, 22, so on and so forth. So nagsabi sa kanila 100, we don't know. Tapos yung nagsabing no, ilan sila? 8 lang sila. Tapos Frosh. Ngayon. So dito na yung pasok yung discussion namin. What do you think, team, could be the reason why they responded yes, they responded no, and I do not know. So I'll be passing on now the microphone to my colleagues.
Hi, good afternoon. I'm Jen Adriano. From our end, no, we were discussing it. Pinag-usapan namin kasi, well, okay, it's nice that a lot of people, a lot of students believe na we are accommodating and we are doing our best, especially as an institution. And it is not only, of course, EdTech uh, ang in charge dyan, kumbaga. Pero more importantly, it is a collaboration between a lot of centers. Specifically, I'm sure this inclusion move is spearheaded by CIE, of course, also with the help of CFAD, which is the Center for Faculty Advancement. Yung CIE pala ay Center for Inclusive Education. And of course, us, no, we are just tools ng kanilang mga advocacies. And it's nice to know na 71% of our Froshies believe na our instructors are extending what is expected of them to accommodate. Yung 11%, I'm sorry, 28%, 26% ang sabi niya, no. I do not know. So, I don't know. Personally ako, sana no na lang yung sagot. Pero kasi yung I do not know means it posts also a challenge for both for the three centers probably, kung pwede ko silang idamay, because it only shows that there is still room for improvement in terms of Benilde as an institution to promote accommodation to our students on that level. And yung 2.14%, so sabi niya doon, I do not, no. So, ayun lang. Wala akong sagot doon, man. Pero sinabi lang niya no. So, again, this 8 people, well, yung 8 people, I suppose, still is a significant number, may not be significant statistically. Pero, of course, as an institution, gusto natin 100%. It's na magkaroon sila ng experience or magkaroon sila ng impression na we are really doing our best, no, to provide accommodations. So, yeah.
Hello, I'm Nandi. Yung yung yellow, yung 28% na I don't know. I remember we also tried to process and understand where this answer is coming from. And while the community is very much aware of our inclusion practices, it probably is possible that some respondents belong to a class that did not experience this for a particular term, and so perhaps that's why they answered such. But it is also possible that some of them may still not fully be conscious or aware of how much effort is put into making sure that the instructional design is inclusive as initiated by the teacher. So dahil ito ay perception ng estudyante. So that's also one driving force for us to spread the idea that it is a way of making even those who are abled learners to distinguish and understand the uniqueness of how we deliver instruction in Benilde. And perhaps our other colleagues who are with us in Zoom, as Sir Rayuel and Attorney Shai, may be able to add to these insights. Thank you.
Sir, before you, nito si Sir Rayuel para magsasalita, pero allow me to introduce also our colleagues na hindi naging part nung sa introduction kanina because hinatak lang namin sila bigla. Si Sir Jack, who's a member of the content development team. He's currently the content dev coordinator. Yeah, he's the content dev coordinator. And the oldest member, actually hindi man oldest, pinaka-seasoned member ng EdTech ito, si Miss Gina Hizola. She is the EdTech she's not the EdTech officer. She's the EdTech everything. So our our edtech everything. So ayan, I apologize for butting in, pero sige Sir Rayuel, please.
Okay lang, Sir Jen. Hello po, good afternoon po sa lahat. Ako po si Rayuel. Of course po, para sa akin, I think I would like to comment that still, as mentioned po kanina by Sir Jen, that even if walo po yung nag-no, still it's a challenge to us po, no, to find ways to accommodate, no, as best as we can, not just those with disabilities po, of course. Maybe kasi I think po do sa learning differences, some may although in many ways po we are forced to do fully online mode or modality of learning for the past couple of years. I think the teachers are more accommodating since most of us then, or siguro there are a lot of teachers din po who were also surprised by the sudden shift sa modality po ng fully online. So I know for sure po marami ako mga colleagues sa aming area, for example, na they were really forced to use online tools po talaga. No? There were people who were not using Biscay, yung LMS po namin. Talagang 100% po talagang they are the typical traditional teachers po namin before who would teach on the blackboard, walang PowerPoint, for example po. So talagang people, paper and pencil po talaga sila na teachers. And that's why I think from that understanding, naintindihan po nila there are more understanding of the students, what our students are going through, especially during the fully online modality po of learning. So in many ways, they, for example, yung some students get disconnected, for example, some students cannot open their cam, some students, of course, lose connectivity or nawawalan minsan po ng way to submit their requirements online. So that happens po. So, and I think that teachers are also understanding when it comes to that, since they too have their own fair share din po, no, of difficulties and challenges that they face. So I think that in a way po siguro is makes us more empathic po, no? We empathize with each other na hindi ako nag-iisa. Parang pag when I talk to my students, alam ko yung pinagdadaanan nyo kasi pinagdadaanan ko rin siya. No? So minsan natatakot ako mawala ng internet or magkaroon ng power ng blackout, for example. Or for example po ay yun nga, may mga nagkakasakit. So in connection to the pandemic, so lahat po tayo nagkakasakit. So in many ways, we are in this together. We understand what people are going through. So in that case po, no, so teachers tend to be more accommodating this time around. If prior to the pandemic, baka mas stricter po sila, no? They may be stricter to their students, but maybe this time around, they are kinder, they are more understanding, they give accommodations to the students, of course, not to spoil them, but of course to mutual po tayo understanding that we are all going through this, and it can be lighter, of course, if we are more understanding towards each other's conditions or situations. Sorry, Shai.
Good afternoon po. On the part of CET-CCBU and also as a professor. I would have to agree with what has already been said and succinctly explained by Sir Ruel. No? We have been finding ways and helping faculty as well find ways to accommodate students, and it might explain why 71 the 7 it might explain the 71%. However, the 2.14%, we still have a long way to go, but the good thing about it is that there are so many tools available now, and as we speak, actually marami na rin pong mga tools na nade-develop, such as the very controversial Chat GPT, which might help us as instructors as well, to be more accommodating to more of our students in the future. So yun lang po yung mayaambag.
Attorney Shai. Thank you, Attorney Shai. Now, we would like also to invite the audience to participate. If in case you have like similar experiences, maybe you could also share yours so later on. But I'm quite happy about the results of the survey because 71% of our students telling us that we are accommodating. So hindi po yan trabaho lang ng isang departamento ng CET, trabaho po ito ng CIE, ng CFAD. Nagtulong-tulong po the entire college in order for us to make sure that we teachers are able to accommodate students with special learning concerns or needs. Ayan po. So let's move to the next tab here, which is about the teacher's perspective. Ano naman yung perspective ng teachers about this? So the question here is, do you feel that our institution provides the necessary resources and support for accommodating individuals with disabilities and or learning differences in your teaching and course design? So 72%, which is 44, majority are part-time, so 25 of them. Full-time, 18 of them. Tapos yung GL natin, yung guest lecturer, isa. So sabi nila, which is, tingnan nyo po, no? Parang close, no? 71% from the students saying na instructors are accommodating. Si teacher naman, ang sabi niya, on the other hand, yung institution, si Benilde, it's actually providing us the necessary support and resources. So, ganun na naman po, ano, hindi po ito trabaho lang ng CET. Pumasok po dyan ng CET, ang CFAD na naman po at ang iba pang centers namin or programs dito in school. So, we are very much glad that our teachers perceive that the institution is helping them. Yan po, ang ganda po niyan. Tapos yung I don't know, 44 po sila. Majority are part-time. I mean, tama ba? Part-time, yes. Yung I do not know. Tapos yung no, wait lang po. Kung maglo-load, ano po, sandali lang. So, 11.48. So, sino po sila? 7 po sila. And majority of them, full-time ang nagsabi. So, bakit ganon? Despite na si students, sabi niya, yung mga teachers namin, they are accommodating. Si ano naman, si teacher naman, sabi naman niya, teka, 11% of them, 7 sa kanila. Sabi, the institution does not provide the necessary resources. So, magkaroon uli po tayo ng discussions na I'll throw again the question or the ideas. I mean, to get the ideas from our teams.
Very interesting sa akin, sir, yung 11.8%. Siya yung nagsabi na no. Diba? Tama po ba? 11.48? Yeah. Yung 11.48% sabi niya no. They are not getting necessary resources and support for accommodating individuals' disabilities and or learning differences. Very interesting kasi sabi ng kliyente natin, yung students, we are providing. Pero sabi nung 11.48%, no, we are not providing. Which I think is, at least sa kung paano ko siya tinitignan, very interesting siya kasi it is a challenge for us also kasi sabi ng sinaservice natin, we are doing good actually. Pero sabi ng mga nagbibigay ng service, ng mga instructors natin, ng mga faculty members natin, no, we can do better. So, of course, you can look at it on a different light, di ba? Pwede mong sabihin, no, Benilde is not doing its job and things like that. But, yun nga, given a while ago, yung previous data na binigay sa atin, it seems that we are able to a certain extent, hindi ko alam kung tama yung term na, but satisfy siguro yung intent, yung needs ng ating mga students. But it doesn't mean that it should end there because we have 11.8% respondents says na no, we are not. So we should do better. This I think is an open challenge for the institution, siguro sa buong not only sa CIE, sa CET, sa CFAD, pero siguro pati sa schools, no, sa iba-ibang schools ng institution na maybe we should look into this. Baka nga naiangat natin yung levels ng teachers natin in terms of how we define inclusion in the classroom, eh, 'di ba? Baka dahil dun sa mga efforts ng CIE, ng CFAD, inangat natin yung no, we can do better, yung ganun ba? So baka kaya nagkaroon sila ng impression na, or hindi impression, naniniwala sila na no, we are not doing our best. So at least for me, that's how I want to look at it, or that's how I see it.
I'd just like to add then, talking about the respondents na no ang sagot. Looking at the profile, even if it's a small number total, but looking at the proportion, more of them are FTF or full-time faculty. And of course, you could give some value to that input from coming from the full-time faculty who are expected to be more aware of efforts on inclusion, having been serving longer than the part-time. And for them to courageously say with conviction that no, I don't feel that the institution provides the necessary resources. And also looking at it positively, yun nga yung, they know we can do so much better. And again, perhaps this also may be attributed to the fact that when this was conducted, nadagdagan na ng pandemic experience, and expectedly the experiences changed with regard to inclusive practices in teaching, or perhaps their responses were affected by their own experiences handling and teaching, as everything happened so fast na nag-adjust na yung teachers. We were expected to also be practicing what we have been, especially the full-time who has been here serving long enough, na akala natin, then alam na namin yan kasi hasana kami pre-pandemic, but then suddenly things changed, and you know, it is opening a lot of challenges, but at the same time opportunities for us to know better when it comes to inclusive practices. So I echo the idea raised by Sir Genesis kanina, yung perhaps we could again recalibrate or look into how we could further innovate our inclusive practices given the new modalities, kasi lahat talaga na nagkaroon ng pagkakataong mag-reflect at take a look at how we have been doing, because the rules of the game have added new have expanded, so to speak. Yun po.
And siguro we could also invite from CFAD if they have like reaction, and even from CIE.
Sir, si Miss Mai. Pero before that, no, gusto ko lang po i-highlight yung isang kwento na I'm sure narinig na to ng maraming taga Benilde. Pero never talaga ako naging sawa ikwento itong story na to. During the lockdown, yung peak ng lockdown, so everybody was di talaga natin alam gagawin natin, and nobody can say na we are best at this. So iba-iba yung naging situations natin, roles changed, and I remember of receiving a phone call. It's a weekday afternoon. It was Miss Rochelle Martin. I think at the time hindi pa siya part ng CFAD nun. So I think SDS, full SDS or BDS, Benilde Deaf School. Anyway, the story is that yung students nila had to go to their respective provinces. And I remember of her telling me that one student that she had, walang signal dun sa or at least mahina yung signal ng data. And given the the needs of the deaf community. Syempre, high-end video yan, I suppose. Kasi yun yung senyas yung means nila of communicating. At least one of them. So, ang nangyari with Rochelle was, yung student, kailangan niya lumabas para makakuha ng mas magandang signal. And which eventually resulted na Rochelle extending, actually, tama naman yung term, extending assistance to the point na text na yung gamit nila. And you can imagine how difficult that is na magte-text ka ng kahit instructions lang, not even the lecture, yung instructions na lang sa isang activity, ite-text mo. What's surprising is yung student would reply na text din. So, I mean, that story only shows that, siguro, and I'm certain hindi lang to very Benilde. I'm certain that this is a huge part of a teacher's heart, parang ganun, na we would always extend as much as we can, extend our hands as much as we can to our students. So, ayun po, na-remember ko yan kasi may comment nga si Miss Myla na yung baka po may perspective or felt need ang ibang teacher as an institution, hindi enough ang support. So, yes, Benilde will provide whatever it can provide. Pero, yun nga siguro as educators, yun, meron din talaga tayong kusa na ginagawa that we extend So, ayun po, if we can hear insights also from CIE and CFAD, we would be more than happy to hear it. Or I think Sir Rayuel and si Attorney Shaiden also has insights on this. Ayun, si Miss Vanny, Director of CFAD.
Okay. Ay, nakamute. Salamat po sa pag-unmute. Magandang hapon po. Just checking yung numbers natin. So it says here kasi yung I don't know and the no, it bothers me kasi if we have 900 faculty times 30%, 30% kasi pag in-add na yan, 30% yan, di ba? Ganyan, 27.87. And if we have 900 faculty, so may 30 faculty tayo na hindi alam na nakaka-accommodate sila o hindi, di ba? And that's times mo kung ilan kunyari yung students sila. So let's say if they had like one section with 40 students, that's 1,200. Na ano ang probability, no? Na meron silang students that needs accommodation. Yun lang naman. So yun. So, process natin yan. Then, meron din tayo dapat sa syllabus. Di ba dapat meron tayong meron tayong CIE or inclusion statement na nasa syllabus. So, sino nagbabasa nun? Nandun siya dapat. And ilan yung faculty na hindi alam na dapat? I mean, it should be there. The syllabus should be there uploaded na binabasa sa first day ng klase. Okay, so, yun lang po. Those are my thoughts for this section. At salamat po, CIE and CET, for this wonderful data. Okay.
Do we have reaction from CIE? Okay, wala po. So, from here,
Sir, nawala si Sir.
we will go straight. Okay. Okay. So we will now be skipping the online survey results as well as the blended, and we will proceed right away to the hybrid because that's our topic for this afternoon. So according to CFAD, hybrid learning is a form of flexible learning where discussion happens simultaneously. Some students are inside the classroom attending face-to-face classes while others are online. Instructors and facilitators teach remote and in-person learners at the same time using technology like video conferencing. So yan po ang aming technical definition about hybrid mode. Okay, so ibig sabihin, Merong nandoon sa classroom na uma-attend at saka yung online in video conferencing application. Okay, so yung question natin regarding the hybrid class, sabi yan, how satisfied are you with the hybrid modality? So you will notice we have spread answer. So the evaluation or the evaluation is from Likert scale, which is 1 to 5. 1 is the lowest and 5 is the highest. So the answer is spread, but you will notice here when we get the average of that, that's 4.36 over 5. So that's around 80 plus. That's 80 plus %. Okay, so sabi ng student natin, we are satisfied with the hybrid modality. Yan po, so satisfied sila. Now, let's compare that with the teachers. Are the teachers also satisfied like the students? So let's take a look at the teachers' satisfaction. So how satisfied are you with the hybrid modality? So dun po sa ano natin, sa hybrid natin, for students, 85 respondents. Doon po sa hybrid, as you all know, 10 na po sila dati, 5 lang yan. So nag-increase na po siya. For all you know, di ba po, earlier we mentioned that majority of our offerings is or offerings are online classes. Okay, so we only have few hybrid classes. So again, the answer is spread. The minimum is 2 and the maximum is 5. And we have here 10 respondents. And as you will notice, when we get the average of these 10 respondents, it's only 3.5. So ilan po ito? 80, ilan po yan? So 87, 60, mga 70, mga ganun. Okay, yeah. So now let's compare. Sabi nung mga students natin, uy, satisfied kami. 4.36 over 5. Very satisfied kami. Sabi naman ni teacher, no, we are not satisfied. So let's take a look closer on what possibilities, why students are more satisfied with their hybrid modality versus teachers who are not that much satisfied. Okay, so let's have our discussions here. Sir Ruel or Attorney Shai?
Yes po. I can go ahead po. I think po, of course, I would like to say that hindi po ako nakapag-try ng hybrid po, no? Although, kasi fully online po ako, I was teaching for the past couple of years. Pero from to place myself po in the shoes of dun sa mga nakapag-online at hybrid po pala, since may makakilala po ako nag-hybrid. Ang sabi po kasi ng mga teachers is parang mga doble po yung kanilang efforts pag hybrid. Kasi po ay parang ano po yan, no? So kasi nga po dalawa yung kanilang audience, merong on-site, okay? Tapos meron pong online. So ang kanilang focus po, ang kanilang attention ay dapat dalawa rin. So dalawa ang kanilang audience. Dito sa mga roomies ang tawag po natin, tapos iba po yung mga zoomies na nasa Zoom. So at kailangan po nila mag-shift from one audience to another. So para makita nila, syempre titingin sila sa camera, titingin sila dun sa mga audience na nasa room. Ayan po. Tapos pag may nagtanong dun sa Zoom, sasagutin dapat nila, or may magtatanong sa face-to-face or sa on-site, sasagutin nila. So ganun po siya. So I think that maybe one of the reasons po that I think according to the teachers who have had hybrid po, no, why, no, siguro po isang possibility kung bakit mas mababa yung satisfaction nung teachers when it comes to the hybrid setup, kasi mas nakakapagod po siya for them. Sorry, Shai. Nakamute kayo.
Okay, I'd like to add to that, although again, similar kami ng experiences are well. I've never had a hybrid class before, right? But we did do the training for the professors. And one of the feedback really is that during the training session, we were told that it's kind of confusing first because it's new, right? It's a new modality for the professors, and that might be the reason why the satisfaction rating is what it is right now. But also, I think on the part of the students, I think they appreciate the fact that we do have hybrid classrooms, that Benilde was able to respond to the need for a hybrid classroom uh, as quickly as it did. Although, of course, we are still under the piloting stage. Tama po ba, Sir Nandi? Nasa piloting stage pa rin ba yung hybrid? Kasi kulang pa tayo ng classrooms. But it might contribute to why the students think that why the students are satisfied or why the students rated that way, no, pagdating sa hybrid classes natin. I mean, even before the hybrid classes, our classrooms were equipped quite well for teaching. Quite a few adjustments were needed, of course, like the cameras and some other devices. But what I remember, what resonated with me during the sessions for the training of the professors is this. It's difficult enough to manage a classroom, right? It's difficult enough to manage students, whether it's purely online or face-to-face. And so imagine, and this is what I think Sir Roel was trying to say also a while ago, imagine having to manage both at the same time. And I think also there was an issue with, it's also management, I think. If I remember correctly, managing the Zoom chat. For those of you who were there during the training, but managing the Zoom chat was quite challenging when you are actually giving your lecture or having your classes at the same time. So again, teachers, I'm only viewing this from the point of view of that because I've never tried hybrid classes, giving hybrid classes. But the modality of our training was actually hybrid. So parang ganun na rin yun. So na-experience namin firsthand how it was done. And imagine having to prepare for class that is more intensive than just training the faculty for hybrid classes. So but again, I would like to look at the students' point of view and see that and say that I think it is very indicative of how they appreciate how ready Benilde is, or at least how Benilde is trying to get ready for hybrid classes compared to maybe some of the other schools. I don't know what they do okay in other schools, but it's a good indication that the students think that we how we prepare for hybrid classes is satisfactory. Yun lang po.
We are joined by by medyo intense daw yung discussion kaya sumama na lang din sila. We are joined by the director of CFAD, Center for Faculty Advancement, Miss Vani, and the head of instruction office, instruction unit of the Center for Faculty Advancement, Miss Jo Tamarda.
Sige po, we just want to share yung results of the kapihan that we conducted last term with the Pioneer Hybrid teachers. And from that conversation, they've pinpointed about 5 points. Now, I think these were already mentioned by Sir Riuel and Ms. Shai. But just to elaborate more on it, siguro yung satisfaction kasi comes from also the need to adjust abruptly and immediately. Like, kasi nag-start tayo ng online. Nasasanay ka pa lang sa online, bigla ka namang hinhybrid. So, kailangan mo ulit masanay to a new technology. So, isa yun sa mga sinabi ng mga participants ng kapihan. Another challenge was yung intermittent Wi-Fi connection. Kasi talagang nung time na yun, nagkakaroon talaga. Hanggang ngayon, yan, meron pa rin talaga tayong problem with that. Also, siguro yung dun sa settings ng mga hardware nung time na yon. Kasi sinasabi nila, aside from them adjusting to the technology of Zoom and the technology inside the classroom, there were also some teachers na hindi pa din sanay dun sa dapat yung settings nun ay stay lang. Hindi mo siya gagalawin. Ganon. Another is on classroom management. As mentioned by Ms. Shai, it's really difficult to, di ba, ang isa sa mga kinikwento nila ay nakakalimutan nila minsan na may Zoomies. So, laging nakafocus ka lang sa roomies. Kasi nga, you were used to having a face-to-face class. So, mas madali talaga siya. So, nagkakaroon din sila ng challenge with how to face the camera. Ganyan. Attorney Shai pala, sorry. Ayun po. Next is yung time management. Isang lumabas is that they only had to give the Zoomies 1.5 hours of sync kasi magkakaroon sila ng Zoom fatigue. So what will they ask the students in a face-to-face class to do after the 1.5? Yan. Tapos, delivery of the lessons also was a little challenging for them because they had to also include the time of setting up the Zoom and yung mga hardware. Tapos magtuturo ka pa. Tapos yung syllabus mo ang daming laman. Ganon. Tapos, yan. And yung multitasking. Yung naririnig ba ako, naka-unmute ka pala the entire 1.5 hours, kawawa yung nasa Zoom mismo. Ganon. Next, with that is the student engagement. How do they make Zoomies and roomies interact with each other? How do they do recitations? How they will catch the attention of the unresponsive Zoomies? Because it was easier for them to engage with the roomies. And also yung facilitation of online and on-site. It's different how you facilitate the class, the whole class in online and a class on-site na full din. And also convincing the students to turn on their cameras. Kasi sabi nila lugi, kasi yung face-to-face, the entire time naka-camera ka. Parang ngayon, 'di ba? Kung ano man yung ginagawa dito sa CET office, nakikita ng lahat, pero yung participants na nasa Zoomies, hindi naman namin nakikita kung anong ginagawa. So yun daw. Next is institutional policy and support. So yun yung naging challenge because they wanted to have clearer policies on attendance. Kung ang Zoomies daw ay pwedeng mag-absent kasi walang internet, paano daw yung nasa face-to-face? Tapos yung mga nasa school na, pwede ba sila talagang mag face-to-face? Ganon. Also, yung conducting classes for 3 hours straight. Ano ba talaga daw yung policy on that? And last is, of course, yung support. They want to continue with faculty trainings to increase confidence in technology. And who do they ask help from? Yun lang naman yung mga challenge. Ang dami po pala nun. Pero yun naman yung lumabas dun sa kapihan. Pero our participants were only 15. So kung titingnan natin, baka meron pang iba. So sa mga susunod pong kapihan, kung kayo po ay nag-hybrid, this is shameless plugging. Mag-join po kayo sa kapihan ng CFAD. Yun lang po. Thank you.
Yes, dagdagan ko lang, actually very related doon sa nilitanya ni ni Miss Jo, kasi ngayon nakikita rin natin, or at least sa amin interpreting this data, na ang pagiging inclusive namin ay hindi na lang focus sa estudyante. Ngayon mas nag-expand na siya doon sa teachers dahil sa mga experience ng faculty at the onset of the pandemic, when all of these new experiences came into play. Lahat nung lumabas dun sa kapihan na shared experiences ay nagbukas ng aming pananaw doon sa totoong challenges na biglang dumami at ang teacher na dati ay gamay na niya yung pre-pandemic teaching experience, suddenly regardless now if you are new or old. And in fact, I remember in one of our hybrid training sessions, meron kaming attendee na ang challenge at least two of them I remember. Ang challenge sa kanila is uh, they are new in the teaching experience and they do not have a prior classroom experience. So sa kanila ang bago yung physical aspect ng hybrid. And again, given the hybrid modality as we have defined it, at least in Benilde, yun yung total performer ang peg mo as a teacher. So in the classroom within the same session, yun nga, yung hati ang attention mo, so mas doble yung challenge sa teacher. Ang dami mong bagong skills na kailangang alam mo na or nahahasa mo na. And I guess that would translate and manifest much later on sa need ng faculty to be supported as much as we show support to our learners. That also levels the playing field and the care and concern that we need to prepare as an institution kasi hindi na tayo magiging bias lang sa estudyante, but and I also see an opportunity for the students to help and participate in supporting their teachers. Dahil pag conscious na sila na grabe yung adjustment ni teacher, 'di ba? So I think they will also contribute a lot in magiging mutual yung support system. So exciting but very challenging for everyone in Benilde, yung mga offices na nagtatrabaho to put together this inclusive practice towards innovation. Yun lang po. So good luck sa mga teachers. Yan.
Thank you, Sir Nance. Si Sir Riwel, I think he's
Yes po, hindi ko po mapigilan sarili ko kasi doon sa po may mga nag-chat yata po, no, hindi natin napapansin sa chat. Parang isang example po to pag sa hybrid setup, may mga nagchat-chat, may mga question or comments, tapos syempre si teacher nakafocus sa klase niya, hindi niya napapansin sa chat. Ayan po. So let me re-echo po yung mga sinabi nila Ismaila and ni Sir Noel. Ayan po, no? Yung difficulty po of teachers who are assigned to handle hybrid class po, especially na may hybrid class po siya pero nasa traditional rooms na hindi po naka-hybrid ready. So isa po yung challenge. And then minsan po sabi ni Sir Noel, yung wireless mic wala na, buti na lang may dynamic mic. Yan po. So kasi naalala ko nga po, isa pong kasi kami po sa CET, kasama rin po kami, yung mga kasama ko po, lalo na nag-a-address po ng may mga technical difficulties minsan, kasama po ang DTO at ng ITD, ng CLR, na minsan po palaging may mga suki minsan po sa hybrid na kumakatok or nagpapatawag ng tulong kasi hindi po nila ma-connect sa Zoom or may problema sa audio or minsan may problema po sa video o doon sa camera. So palagi po yun. So tama po yung comment kanina na maraming time minsan po na kailangan i-devote pa para sa pag-setup ng hardware. So which is very very true po. Or minsan naman po ay may mga nakakatawang parang experiences sa ibang teachers po na alam niya na naka-hybrid siya or kung blended man po siya, bigla siya napapasok si teacher tapos bigla yung buong klase pala niya nasa online, bigla po sila mag-o-online. So siya lang po nag-iisa sa classroom, sila po ay nasa online. So sana sabi nga ng teacher, kung alam ko lang kayo ay lahat mag-online, nag-online na rin sana ako. So para po ay sayang yung 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 resources kung may mga ganun pong possibility. So talagang nangyayari po. So marami po talagang dapat na adjustments or dapat na gawin in connection po doon sa hybrid na setup po. Yan po.
din po nag-conduct naman po sila ng kanilang kapihan. And from the results of the survey, they're able to input naman their experiences. So ang ganda po nung discussion po natin kasi yung wala po kami, si Sifad naman po yung nakakapuno niyo po. So, thank you very much. At alam niyo po, nag-travel pa sila from their room to our room. Pambira. Salamat po Sifad. Salamat po. Okay, meron po rito ano pa to. We have reaction here. I think teachers are facing increasing demands in doing a hybrid learning, including engaging with students both in person and virtually, while also keeping up with advances in pedagogy and technology. In short, teachers with satisfaction rating probably were not exactly a techie person. Yeah. Okay po, so let's proceed to the next tab, which is about the what the students like about the hybrid
Rosh, nakataas
class.
po yata yung kamay ni Miss
Yes.
Myla.
Sige po, go ahead po, Ma'am Myla.
Hello po. Sir, sige po sir, bago lang mag-proceed sa next na topic kasi baka mamaya hindi na related. In terms of challenges din po kasi and support, at times kasi hindi siya technology lang. At times kasi yung support can be in the form of policy. Halimbawa, kapag may mga estudyante na biglang kailangan puntahan, ano ba yung policy natin sa pag-handle, let's say, ng ganung situation. Support in terms of, let's say, may experiences before na alam ng teacher at saka ng klase na may klase sila in a particular classroom, and yet pagdating nakasara yung classroom. So talagang may mga ganung challenges po talaga, especially nung first few weeks. Pero ang nakakatuwa din naman po, dahil yung presence po ng community kahit papano nandoon. Sa simula medyo struggling, but eventually teachers, at least majority of the people that I was able to talk to, they were able to get the hang of it. So let's say nag-participate din po sa training, hands-on training ng CET. However, there were some challenges in terms of technology na hindi naman syempre of course covered ng training, and eventually nun lang na-discover na ay posible paling maging problema to. So it's a learning experience not only for the teachers and for the students but also for the whole community. Let's say sa CLR, sa CET, sa DTO, kahit po sa admin. So, and GASO is especially, so ano siya, community din po talaga. Thank you po. Hello po, narinig po ba yun? I hope narinig po. Salamat.
We heard you po, Ma'am Myla.
We agree with you on our first implementation, first week of maybe first 2 weeks of implementation. Medyo marami tayong concerns na they were not discussed or were not raised during the training. Pero talaga pong ganun ano. Pero ang maganda lang po sa atin na we learned those things and we were able to adjust. And these things, yung mga technical concerns po natin, we would not be able to address them without the help of CLR and DTO. So aside from CFAD, nakatulong din po pati CIE, nakatulong din po sa atin ng malaki si CLR at si DTO. In fact, sila po yung abalang-abala on the first 2 weeks. Sila po yung maraming natutulungan nating mga teachers. Kaya po, we also very much appreciated the help of CLR and DTO for the implementation of our hybrid courses. So kung wala po sila, palagay ko po naging mas mahirap po yung experiences natin. Kaya I agree po with Ma'am Myla na later on nakapag-adjust naman po tayo. So moving on, let's work naman on what the students like about their hybrid courses. Kasi 'di ba, ang taas nung kanilang rating kanina when we showed it versus yung sa faculty natin. So, ito po we have 85 respondents here at yung pong malaking word dito sa word cloud natin ay online. Tignan po natin kung ano po ito. Eh, yan po kung lalabas. Ano pa? Lumabas naman. So, 22. So, sabi dyan, a better balance. So, what do they like about hybrid courses? A better balance between school life and personal life. Allows us students to have more time with friends and family and work around a routine that suits us. Another reply is allows us students, sana hindi ako tumalon, allows us students to work at our own pace. Ability to rewatch lectures. If we miss a class or lecture due to an emergency or sickness, we can easily watch the recorded meeting online at our convenience. So next, can save money because we'll be traveling less. Being to attend online and on-site allows me to experience what it feels in both schools, in both in school or campus. Both sides, the one in online and the one. Especially in programming, I learn more instead of online class. So may ganun pala, no? Mas natututo sila sa ano, pag pumupunta sila dito sa atin. Having the choice for F2F or online. So yung choice naman. I like how there's an option to either join face-to-face or online. So I prefer the online classes because Benilde is 2+ hours away from where I live. So you will notice ang dami po nilang sinasabi po no, about the online thing. I like that I have the option to choose between online and face-to-face. So yung choice naman between F2F and online. I like the availability and accessibility it provides for the students who can't afford to travel to the campus and are instead attending online. I love how teachers meet and communicate with us. Gusto nila yun. Yun ang gusto nila sa atin. Okay. So, alin pa kaya dito? Medyo yung maliit na lang ito. Tingnan natin yung learning. Ibang kulay siya. So, 6 responses. Sabi niya rito, what do they like about the hybrid courses? Easier for me to manage my time. I get to do schoolworks more efficiently too, since I'm not always at school. Commuting takes time, so hybrid learning is a plus for me. So commuting. Next, hybrid modality helps us interact with our classmates. So interaction naman and instructors. More and helps me with effective learning. So yung interaction nakakatulong sa kanila for effective learning. It also opens more ground for proper communication and relaying information. I get to experience both learning environments. I have classes that are done on computer lab and have hybrid learning modality. The blended modality gives me a chance to immediately clarify my questions to my professor instead of asking questions through email. Attending F2F on hybrid mode also makes learning more engaging. So ngayon, na-appreciate na nila ito, no? So next, same with blended learning, it's more flexible of learning, very flexibility for students works for diverse learning style. So we have we have 85 responses here, but siguro we don't need to cover everything here, but at least we get the gist of why students like hybrid courses. Okay, so it's all about online flexibility, learning through F2F, and among other things, time, and so on. Now, let's see what the teachers like about their hybrid courses. So since 10 lang yung sa atin, sumagot, okay. So yung pinakamalaki students, so tingnan natin yung students na to. So si teacher naman sabi niya, what do I like about my hybrid class or course? I'm able to meet my students. Students seem excited to do group activities. Interaction F2F students is noticeable. So palagay ko naman hindi galit yung sumagot nito. Sabi niya, it is sensitive to the needs of students who cannot afford to come back for the face-to-face modality. Ang ganda po nun, ano? So imagine nyo naisip niya yon na to support those who cannot afford to come back for face-to-face. At least we have hybrid courses for them. Students can learn at their own pace. Ayan po. So yung ibang kulay naman po dito, tingnan natin yung green. Tingnan natin itong sensitive. Ano po itong sensitive na to? Yan kung lalabas. It is sensitive to the needs of students who can, yun na pala yung kanina. Okay, so tingnan naman natin itong yellow. Ano itong synchronous na to? Yes, like the process. Synchronous and F2F class. Okay, so basically, parang ganun din po, no? Meron ding point nung face-to-face, yung interaction with students. So pati pala sina teacher, nag-enjoy sila in face-to-face meeting with their students. Okay, so yan po. Meron po ba tayong reaction from the team? So okay lang, ayan. Ayaw na po nila mag-react. Baka po yung audience natin, baka kayo naman po, baka may you have something to share. Tingnan po natin yung nasa chat. Okay. Sige po. Okay. Okay, sige po. Meron pa po bang ano? Sabi rito, a great learning experience for teachers experiencing hybrid si Miss Myla. Ayan, meron po ba tayong rito bago? Sabi ni Ma'am Myla, some students do not find it practical yet as they only have 1 or 2 hybrid classes. Tama naman po pagka ganun na situation. Can't move yet to Manila, especially for those coming from provinces. So, pag may hybrid po tayo, for those who cannot come here, baka pwede na lang kausapin si teacher. Yun po. So now, let's go to the hybrid student challenges. Ano naman yung mga challenges that students have experienced? So again, 85 po yung sumagot dito. Yung malaki po dito, yung online. Tingnan po natin yung online. Sir Lance, pabasa.
Teka, lalapit ako. Okay, so this particular question is about what challenges have you encountered with the hybrid modality? And of course, the responses are coming from students. Although 9 lang yung respondents, medyo marami yung mga mga inputs nila. Let's read this particular set of responses. Having a fully online class and 5 minutes before the face-to-face meeting. Tapos yung hybrid modality isn't as challenging since majority of the class is online. I get anxious about asking questions during online meetings.
Sir Nandi, would you like me to continue reading? Kasi baka nahirapan kayo magbasa dyan.
Go ahead.
Okay.
Thank you, Attorney Shai.
Okay. So sabi din po dito, it is easier for students to fall behind when they miss a class or if the workload is too much and cannot be accomplished in limited time. It also demotivates students who are attending online to participate. So true naman po talaga yan, no, kapag medyo nakaka-demotivate siya for some. It's hard to shift from online to hybrid. That's an interesting thought. Maybe we can talk about that later. Ano ba yung thoughts natin on why they think it's hard to shift from online to hybrid? Is it because of what's already stated a while ago na they have to travel? If you are one of those who are, if roomie ka, or kasi hindi naman pwedeng dahil sa online pa rin dahil we have been under online learning since the pandemic. So my challenge is that I wish that there would still be a full online learning through the next years. And also one said none because I just joined the online option since it's more convenient for me. Yan. Online students will most likely not interact much while face-to-face students get to interact more. And some students might feel discomfort and excluded from the class. And lastly, since I am taking the class online, the audio of some video presentations are not that clear. But the professor tries to keep us in check, which is good. So yun po yung mga comments on the challenges under the word online. So maybe another one, internet. Okay, internet. So the intermittent to no signal of internet connection. Okay. The intermittent to no signal or internet connection is still inevitable, which is, well, a reality right now. The deeper connection with other classmates is still lacking. Challenges encountered were mainly technical and internet difficulties. So one also said I encountered internet connection issues. So again, connectivity po. Mukhang yun yung main issue kasi sabi dito, none apart from internet interruptions, which rarely occurs. Sometimes the internet is lagging for me, very hassle in terms of stable internet connection. So in terms of that term used, internet, it's still connectivity, no, whether it is intermittent nga po or no signal at all, which is also beyond the capability of the institution, right, to address for now for our students. Maybe one last po for Nina.
Attorney Shai, I was intrigued by this. I'll click yung blockmates. Tingnan po natin yung blockmates.
Sige po, tingnan natin. Okay, so I didn't get to meet all my blockmates, but because nga it's hybrid. But this modality saved those students that lives far away and would still want to attend class. Then lack of communication with my blockmates. I think personally, because I am a professor who tend to give group activities in class or group projects. This is particularly an issue with the online modality. Pero I think even because of this response, even with the hybrid modality, it's still going to be an issue for them because some nga po are roomies and some are Zoomies.
Thank you, Attorney Shai. Maybe we could invite now other schools who are attending here. Maybe they could also share their students' experiences, what challenges they have encountered. So maybe it's about time for us to open the floor for them, the e-floor, for them to share their students' experiences. Meron po bang brave soul na makakapag-share sa atin? So we are now opening the floor from other institutions. Sir Jemai, maybe you could help us identify.
Yes, sir. Ay magandang hapon po sa lahat, no? Si Miss Myla po muna, nag-raise ng kanyang hand.
Yun po, hello po. Just to start the ball rolling, kasi I'm sure marami pa pong iba ditong may experience in terms of interacting with their students, especially during the hybrid, their hybrid classes. Yung challenge, I think, doon po sa estudyante, in terms of sa block, babalikan ko po yung kay Attorney Shai kanina. Kasi po talaga siya, it's a tricky situation. Kasi it can either solidify the block o kaya po may makaramdam na blockmate na medyo nalileft out sila. Kasi tendency po talaga may mga grupo po o may mga estudyante na mag-gel together kasi sila yung madalas na pumupunta sa campus, meron sila ibang socialization na activities. So, nagbaband po. So, kapag halimbawa, yung isang estudyante ay limited sa online, hindi niya na-experience yung ganong klaseng experiences ng mga kaklase niya. So, yun po yung isang situation. But other way of looking at it, nakakatulong din po kasi yung ganong klaseng bonding experiences ng Black para yung pong mga nasa online na kaklase nila ma-encourage na mag-join din po sa face-to-face sessions. So minsan may mga na-observe ko din po to kahit sa senior high. Minsan po may mga pa sila pakulo yung mga estudyante na miss wag niyo pong sabihin pero pupunta ako sa campus. Gusto ko lang silang sorpresahin. Pwede po ba akong mag-sit in kahit isa lang dahil malayo po yung estudyante, which is by the way understandable, so hindi niya afford yung regular na pagpunta sa campus. Kahit po sa senior high may mga ganong scenario po na isusurprise na rin yung kaklase nila. So yun po yung medyo tricky na situation. In terms of challenge din po, kasi nabanggit ko po to kanina sa in-encode ko, dahil hindi pa po sila totally makalipat sa Maynila, marami po talagang mga estudyante na nagpo-commute po, so long commute, let's say nanggagaling sa Pangasinan, o kaya po Cavite na mga 2 hours, 3 hours po yung biyahe nila. Pero ang nakakatuwa po kasi kahit na ganun katagal yung biyahe nila, dedicated pa rin po sila sa pag-attend sa face-to-face classes. Kasi po, given yung reason na hindi siya araw-araw. Pero sinasabi din po nila na kung araw-araw to, hindi po nila kakayanin. Hindi naman sila makapag-stay pa sa Manila kasi dahil isa pa lang yung subject, hindi pa sulit na mag-dorm. Pero kung magkakaroon po sila ng iba pang subjects na on-site, yun po yung panahon na perhaps papayagan po sila ng magulang nila na mag-stay na sa Manila. Yun po, several challenges.
Thank you, Ma'am Myla. Okay, so tama po yung observation nyo, no? Na it's good na hindi araw-araw kasi from Pangasinan to here, that will really be a challenge. Now, before we proceed, I think si Miss Camille will say something. Ma'am Camille.
All right, so thank you so much, Sir Roger, Architect Nandi, Sir Jen, Sir Yuel, and Attorney Shai, and of course to our faculty members who shared po in our wonderful discussion. No? So based from the survey conducted by the CET, despite the implementation of online, hybrid, and blended learning, majority of the students in Benilde find their teachers accommodating to students with specific learning needs. So this is a great validation efforts. This is a great validation for the inclusion efforts of various offices in Benilde, and at the same time, like what you mentioned earlier, no, still a challenge for us to do better in succeeding terms. So once again, thank you so much for CET team. With that, our audience is certainly burning with questions and are curious to know your answers to them. Now, let me call on our facilitator, Mr. Jeremiah Adriano, Inclusion Advocacy Unit Head of the Center for Inclusive Education, for the Q&A session.
Thanks, Camille. Sige. Maraming salamat po buong CET team. Hintayin lang muna natin, no, na ma-spotlight lahat para kita tayong lahat. No? So habang sina-spotlight, siguro gusto ko rin lang mag-thank you dun sa very energetic at saka very passionate teachers natin na nandito na nag-share din ng kanilang insights. Nakakatawa kasi parang naging town hall bigla. Lalo na yan, sina Ms. Myla. Shout out po sa CFAD na biglang pumunta sa kabilang classroom, sa kabilang room at sumali sa discussion. Siguro na rin, to share din sa mga non-Benildeans natin na nandito sa forum na to. So right now, kung mapapansin niyo, biglang nagsama-sama yung three different offices, no. So of course we have the Center for Educational Technology. Mainly sila yung mahawak ng edtech concern. So yung MLS namin at saka nagso-support, yun nga, sila yung nagtawid. Actually, sila yung bumuhay sa amin no nung pandemic, lalo na nung lockdown, from pure online na itinawid kami to hybrid, and eventually kung ano pa man yung magiging future ng education for Benilde. And nandito rin si CFAD, si Center for Faculty Advancement. Sila naman yung humahawak sa faculty members sa Benilde, kung saan nagtitrain sa kanila and ina-ensure na fully equipped sila to be great teachers for our students. And lastly, the Center for Inclusive Education. So part ako nun. Kami naman yung nag-handle ng students with learning needs, no. So yun, nakakatawa kasi bigla siyang naging town hall. And once again, thank you lalo na kina Miss Vanny, kina Miss Jo na biglang sumulpot. And again, yung mga faculty members namin na very passionate. Sure, before we start, gusto ko rin lang mag-comment saglit, very, very quickly, yung about the survey results. Kasi it's interesting. Sobrang interesting siya para sa akin kasi yung results nakakagulat. Lalo na yung sa part na yung faculty members natin sa Benilde ay parang hindi sila satisfied sa binibigay nating accommodations. Pero yung mga client natin, nabanggit nga ni Mr. Adriano kanina, na yung client na sinservan natin, satisfied naman. Siguro magandang makita siya as yung faculty members natin, lalo na yung full-time professors, ay may hunger pa. Gutom pa sila na gusto pa nilang magbigay sa mga estudyante natin. And nakakatuwa yun. From a person na galing sa Center for Inclusive Education, maraming salamat po sa mga faculty members natin na tuloy-tuloy pa rin yung uhaw na mabigay yung best inclusive education for our students. And yun din yung sa napakita rin nila CET, na members ng CET, yung realities ng hybrid, no? Gaya ng nabanggit ko kanina, yung pagtawid from on to full distance kasi lockdown tayo, to hybrid, to kung ano man yung pupuntahan pa natin sa mga susunod na taon. Yung challenges na nabanggit nila kanina. So with that, no, my first question would be, ano yung personal challenges ninyo, members of the Center for Educational Technology, yung personal challenges ninyo sa pagtawid natin nung biglang lockdown, full distance tayo, and then eventually naging hybrid. Kasi para din sa sa guests natin, no, na hindi familiar, lahat po sila ay faculty members. So nagtuturo rin sila. So may first-hand experience sila sa mga kaganapan noon.
Hi, Jemai. I'd like to be the first to respond to that
Yes, sir.
question. As far as the experience we had, especially during the onset of hybrid, nung nagpe-prepare ang Benilde, dahil we had to pilot test the hybrid modality early on when the senior high school already declared that they will roll out their program for that particular school term, tapos coupled with piloting one of the programs yung sa student life, CSB Life. It was a challenge because we reach out to all faculty na ina-anticipate na magtuturo sa succeeding term. So while it was also a risk on the part of the school in terms of investing a lot into it, dahil wala pang kasiguruduhan nung time na yon kung gaano kalaki ang kailangan ng i-invest ni school, both in terms of hardware, software, and human resources. Kami, ang role namin yung sa training. So ang challenge sa amin was, of course, for those who were invited, number one, for them to take the invitation and voluntarily accept it and commit to attending it and seriously taking it when they attended the session. But beyond that, kaya nung sabi ni Miss Myla kanina na kahit nag-training na, may mga experience yung mga teachers on the spot na hindi naman na-cover, which in fact was one of the reasons why even during the training we strongly suggested to the attendees na on your own practicein nyo yung ano. Kasi ano yan eh, it's really an experiential uh, type of training because the hybrid modality requires you to now feel the classroom, the physicality of the classroom again. And the biggest challenge also, even after that, was the ano, yung how that training, because we were only able to reach out to a few, how that would ripple and how those who attended would be able to help us reach out to others in their departments or programs. And at the same time, maging allow me to use the term, maging organizational behavior or organizational culture na yung once they are trained, that's not the end all and be all of it. Talagang ano lang kami, taga push lang kami na opening the idea, but it's really going to be up to the individual teachers to change their ways in learning how to teach. And kasama na doon yung exploring and learning everything that's new. And it's really the biggest hurdle, yung the individual teachers' openness to embracing something new, which I think the pandemic really taught a lot of us about yung in this case hybrid modality, as we are actually now facing again new modalities. So it's really that the biggest barrier, and this is already in response to one of the questions in the chat box also, yung common barriers. I would name that one of the barriers really is the individual, kasi yung initiatives ng institution is already very visible, but it's really the response of the individual teachers or faculty, how they would respond to the support provided. Kahit gaano kalakas yung support na ibigay namin, kung hindi receptive yung target beneficiaries, it's not gonna work 100% or as successful as we hope it turns out to be. But we're generally getting positive feedback, but we are expecting a lot more. Even as simple as responding to surveys is already a big step, and yet it seems to be a challenge. There seems to be a lot of things that we need to improve on pagdating dun sa community and culture building towards innovation and inclusion. Yun. So I hope that answers one of the questions posted in the chat. Thank you.
Thank you po, Architect Nandi. Attorney Shai?
Oops, nakamute. Attorney nakamute.
Attorney Shai? Nakamute pa po kayo.
Sorry, just to build on what Architect Nandi said, for me, to answer also the question in the chat, no, well, what is one of the three common or core barriers? I think it's really that hybrid, modern teaching, no, will demand right now, because of the tools that are already available to us and to the students, a change in perspective. The culture has to change. It must be more receptive. And syempre sinabi ko yung barriers. Sasabihan ko, magbibigay tayo ng solution, di ba? Ganun tayo. So, and I think a huge impact on this culture would be the support of the different schools, the heads of the different schools. I'm saying this because in our school, however small we are, no, konti lang yung faculty sa School of Diplomacy and Governance, I would like to say that the dean and the chairperson, when the hybrid classes training was presented by CATC-CBU, there was a lot of excitement coming from the faculty, because also we generally were it was all initiated as well by the dean and the chairpersons. So again, the core barrier might be the culture itself, and for some reason, I agree with Sir Nandi, we still cannot pinpoint why there is a resistance to change, but I guess it is human nature. But that barrier can be addressed if there is enough support and enthusiasm from the heads of the departments, the heads of the schools. Again, it's not only the job of the CIE, CET, and CFAD. The support is there, and the willingness to teach is there, but we must create a more receptive culture in our teaching faculty, or in our associates. I think that dun siya nagsa-start talaga. Yung i-excite mo sila, like again, I'll give an example. I know again that this is a controversial topic right now, but right now there is a new, di ba? A nuisance ba, or nuance sa ano natin, na yung ChatGPT or AI, right? And instead of being afraid of it, CET, CCBU actually held discussions and thought of ways to reach out to our faculty to discuss it, and to find ways to understand it, so we can better address the issue, if there is even an issue, in terms of academic integrity, plagiarism, right? So watch out for that too. Parang nag-plug na ako, Sir Nandi. So ganun, no? Pero yun, dun pa lang makikita niyo yung excitement. So we did a brown bag on that. Pinilot test ko siya sa SDG, and we got a lot of feedback. And again, yung culture of excitement nandun sa bagong gusto nilang maintindihan. Hindi yung takot, hindi yung hesitation. So I think it's really about the culture that we need to build. Yun lang po. Salamat.
Thank you, Attorney Shai. Siya pang gusto mag-share? Yung...
Mr.
Yes,
Adriano.
Sir Riowel.
Yes po. I would like to, of course, continue po, no, to also build on what Attorney Shai mentioned, yung culture building po, that I think one of the barriers, of course, to answer the question kanina in the chat, that I think the students face, and of course also faculty face, is that hindi lang po yung academic academic dimension, no, the requirements of the academe, so sa classes, for example, sa mga requirements of the students, of course the responsibilities of the teachers, but they also have, for example, yung family, mga family matters, no? Family matters, health concerns, of course, so personal matters. So I think we should build parang a culture of trust din. So for example, may mga students na lalapit sa akin na, sir, nagkasakit ako, or hindi siya nagkasakit yung father or mother niya, siya daw yung mag-aalaga sa parents niya, for example. Or for example naman po ay yung iba sila, yung mga students ko, minsan nag-absent siya kasi ay may mga chores, for example, na kailangan nilang gawin sa bahay, may mga ganun pong bagay. So minsan you have to just trust minsan, mahirap talaga minsan mag-balance or mag-balancing act tayo minsan. So same way din yung challenges po ng babalik na tayo, for example, sa face-to-face, may mga students talaga, and even teachers na talagang mahihirapan doon sa challenge of going back face-to-face or on-site. So may kasama po yan. So talagang we have to build, sabi ko nga po, you have to siguro nga to touch on that, yung culture of trust, and how can the institution hopefully kung accommodate po natin, for example, yung mga students natin with their so-called mga learning needs po nila, yung kanilang peculiarities or yung kanilang different situations. Sana although also accommodations din po, no, for the teachers kasi we can also fully understand yung what teachers are also going through, yung kanilang situation. Like marami po kaming colleagues, for example, coming from the provinces, or even may mga students din po tayo from the provinces or even in the other islands, so Mindanao or and Visayas. So talagang mahirap din po talagang malaman minsan kung yung reason ng teacher or nung student ay valid or not. So again, yung nga po, yung culture of trust and of course understanding between us. Yun po.
Thank you, Sir Reuel. I think Mr. Adriano wants to say something.
Thank you, Mr. Adriano. Just to give context doon sa kung bakit lagi namin hina-highlight at least ng CET members yung culture. We have been practicing EdTech for ever since more than a decade now. Hindi man siya yung parang ganito, but our former head who is somewhere here hiding, doon din naman siya nag-capitalize eh. Umila ba? Ayan. It was just behind this wall. Doon naman din siya nagsimula eh. Nagsimula din siya sa pag-build ng culture. Yung mga, personally, tambay lang naman ako ng opisina until, I received the gospel of EdTech, so to speak. Tapos, ayun, nag-start lang po siya ng culture building. And so, although I really saw how difficult it was for the training people, for the teachers, for the administrators to adjust to the demands of the lockdown during the pandemic, I empathize as well doon sa mga institutions na hindi masyado nagkaroon ng opportunity na magsimula ng mas maaga. Bigyan ko kayo po ng halimbawa. We had an LMS. We were running an LMS 2010, even way before 2010, I think, parang 98 siguro meron na, mga ganyan. Ayan, Moodle, we started Moodle, tapos Web City, ganyan. So pinaglalaroan lang naman namin siya, nila. High school parang po ako nun eh. So pinaglalaroan ni Mr. Tujel de la Pumalag. Pinaglalaroan na po na nila yung idea na yun. And then, tapos yun, nag-build lang sila ng small community of practice. Walang sweldo yun, tambay lang siya. As in, masaya lang, you believe in what you are doing and you believe in the ability of tech to be used as a tool to highlight the teacher or how good a teacher is. So nung we designed programs before the pandemic started. So nung pumasok yung pandemya, yung lockdown, it was really difficult for us. But I'm sure it's not as difficult as doon sa mga taong mas off guard. So ayun lang po, just to give context, especially kasi yun nga yung naririnig niyo yung kwento namin, pero of course we would like to open the floor also to the members of the, not really members, to the attendees of this session. People from like Lasal Osamis, our friends from Lasal Osamis. I'm not sure kung merong members or students dito from the MALT ng DLSU and other institutions also. We would also love to hear your insights on this kasi we are sure na hindi lang naman si Benilde yung naka-experience ito, and your insights, your experiences will just give more meaning to this discussion, and definitely yung session na to, no, we will learn a lot from each other. So tulong-tulong din tayo eventually to paano ba tayo makaka-adjust to a hybrid setup, ano ba yung mga kailangan, things like that. Anyway, thank you, Mr. Adriano.
Thank you, Mr. Adriano, for that. Meron pa po bang gusto mag-add? Sige. Actually, sige, Sir Roger, kayo po ba yan?
Siguro we could now open the floor also for, as mentioned by Sir Jen. Let's open the floor to our other participants who maybe would like to share their experiences or what barriers do they experience, and what can they suggest to resolve this. It may not be an abrupt resolution, but at least we will have an idea on what to focus on and how to maybe resolve this. It may not be abrupt, as I said. It could be, step by step until we reach that full solution. Thank you.
Yes, from the participants po ba, sa guests natin, meron kayong comments or suggestions or questions? Siguro while waiting, ito, gusto kong erase na to kasi saktong-sakto siya sa binabanggit ni Mr. Adriano kanina. Merong isang question about sa pagbigay ng ng equipment, pag-provide ng equipment sa ating mga estudyante. Siguro ang context na pinanggagalingan niya ay isang public school. Sige, let me read the question. How can you provide equipment technically for public school kids in the province? So again, ang pinanggagalingan niyang konteksto ay very different from us, and this question is very interesting.
I will answer and then Sir Roger also give his insight. Totally different. Totally different. But that's not my answer. My answer is that I guess the approach to learning doon ay hindi dapat nakabase lang. Hindi dapat malilimitahan dun sa kung anong device ang meron ka. Because, sorry, I don't know how to put this nicely, pero of course, hindi talaga dapat na sana tayo umasa na may matatanggap tayo somewhere from someone na device for learning. Sana meron. Don't get me wrong. Sana meron. Pero papaano kung wala? So with that, I guess as teachers, tayo din yung mag-a-adjust eh. Ano ba yung meron at ano ba yung kayang i-sustain? Sa Benilde, wala kami, totally different po yung context, pero we had probably the same stories na meron kami mga tinesting na mga hindi siya device, siguro software or application na may bayad tapos hindi siya sustainable for us. So given that context, baka po pwede na yes, sana makakuha tayo ng device or ng gadgets that we can learn and we will learn from it. Pero habang wala pa, sana magkaroon din tayo ng atake. Kasi at the end of the day, yung teacher, kahit wala siyang magandang device, basta magaling siyang teacher, matututo yung bata. So ano ba yung kayang gawin ng teacher na hindi lang nakadepende dun sa device? But, thank you.
Okay. Sa akin po, parang ang hirap niya sagutin eh. Kasi that will involve yung mga LGUs natin, the government itself, ang CHED or ang DepEd. Ano po siya? Malawak po yung niya, yung coverage niya. Hindi lang po siya basta-basta na may bibigay right away. Baka kailangan pa ng Senado or ng ng lower house para ma-resolve itong issue na ito. Pero katulad po nung sinabi ni Sergeant kanina, dapat po si teacher medyo siya, yung creative siya in finding solutions. In fact, most of the time, yung may mga concerns na ganito, they themselves are able to resolve. Sila rin po yung nakakapag-isip ng mga ganito. Pero hindi naman po natin maalis na meron tayong mga cities na they can afford. Halimbawa sa Maynila o sa Quezon City, they're able to provide yung mga gadgets. So nakapag-provide po sila. Nung naalala ko po noon, baka naman hanggang ngayon din ginagawa pa sa Maynila, dito po sa Manila, na yung pong mga public schools po na bibigyan sila ng mga devices, yung mga tablets. At na yun, may load pa ata kung hindi ako nagkakamali. So may mga ganyan pong mga programa yung mga government natin. Pero as I've said, hindi naman lahat po ng ng 'di ba ng mga LGUs kayang gawin ito. So doon na po magpapasok yung creativity ni teacher. Yan po. May mga nagtataas po ng kamay. Thank you.
Thank you, Sir Roger. Sir Reuel?
Yes po. I think po to of course comment din po do sa question and of course to mention. I'm not sure po kung napanood nyo to or na-read nyo sa news way back noon during the lockdowns. may isang teacher po in the provinces na paano niya marireach yung mga estudyante niya since may lockdowns nga po, no? Parang ang ginawa po niya ay gumamit po yata siya ng walkie-talkie. Ewan ko narinig niyo po yun. Yung walkie-talkie po ginamit niya, parang radyo, two-way radio. Binigyan po yata yung mga pamilya or minsan either rotation. Ginamitan lang po niya ng walkie-talkie para magklase or mag-lesson sa mga kabahayan ng mga estudyante niya. Kasi nga ay mahirap po talaga yung very challenging po talaga kasi gaya na lang siguro ng hindi lang siguro sa gadgets po nito kundi sa infrastructure din. Minsan may mga areas talaga na walang internet for example or may areas pa rin pala ngayon na walang kuryente, no? So talagang talagang mahirap po kasi bigyan mo ng gadget pero walang kuryente at wala silang internet or walang signal for example. So it may defeat the purpose. So papasok po siguro dito, tama nga po yung mention ni Sir Jen kanina na yung innovation ng mga teachers po natin, no? So how they can innovate, how can they, with what they have, kung ano meron tayo, maybe that's good enough for us at least to do something to address the situation since naka-lockdown nga po, bawal magharap-harap, pag face-to-face, wala namang internet, wala ring kuryente, for example. So itong teacher na to, gumamit po siya ng walkie-talkie nga po, no? So nagamit niya yun kasi parang na-feature to sa isang news clip po. So very interesting po ito at minsan ginagamit ko to example how teachers can innovate po, no? Or how they can parang push themselves beyond the confines of what they have. Or although we have to build of course on what we do have. Pero that's part of the challenge po, no, of teachers today, yung challenge to do what we can with the bare minimum or what we do have with us right now.
Thank you, Sir Reuel. From the CET office, nakataas ang kamay. Meron kayong idadagdag? Yes, Miss Vanny. Nakamute ata kayo.
Ano lang
Thank
po, dun sa kasi 'di ba wala nga tayong ano ba yun, gadgets or anything, but we can rely on the printed materials, 'di ba nga? Doon naman tayo nagse-start. But the thing is, ano yung content ng materials natin? We can assess that. Kumusta naman ang activities? 'Di ba? Baka kasi ang mga tinatanong natin doon sa materials na ito is just what and how. How about the why? So, para mas yung HOTS natin, yung higher order thinking skills, yung mas matutukan natin. So that's the same as dito sa mga learning materials natin na digital. No, even online classes ganyan, baka naman panay ang ano natin sa klase lecture. Pero wala tayong processing, bakit tayo nagtuturo ng ganyan, di ba? Ayun lang po. Kasi susunod ako sana pero yun lang. So just assess the materials, the lessons, and the assessments. All right.
Thank you, Miss Vanny. Meron pa ba gustong mag-add? From the audience, I'm sure lahat kayo, hindi ako teaching faculty kasi, lahat kayo na-experience to, lalo na nung nag-transition tayo because of the pandemic. Meron ba kayong gustong i-share na, kumbaga, experience ninyo? So far, no, nakakatuwa kasi unti-unti na rin nating nasasagot yung isang questions raised kanina sa chat box, yung barriers to hybrid learning. So far, lumalabas dito, number 1, culture. Nabanggit nga ng CET team, no, na tawag do, ang paggamit ng technology sa pagtuturo ay it's a culture talaga. And matagal-tagal, alam nating lahat na hindi ganun kabilis mag-build ng culture. Nabanggit nga nila kanina ni Sir Adriano kanina na as early as late 90s nag-start na ang grupo na paggamit ng mga LMS. And another point that was raised is yung support ng admin. I think it was Attorney Shayan kanina nagbanggit na big factor yung chairs, yung deans ng kanilang school sa pag-build ng culture na to. So kung may buy-in ang admins, magti-trickle down siya sa mga tao under him or her. And lastly, yung infrastructure na banggit. Lalo, ito lumabas to nung na-raise yung question about dun nga sa devices na ibibigay sa mga estudyante. Tama ang nabanggit ng team na minsan hindi mo naman kailangan ng something high-tech eh. Hindi mo kailangan ng tawag dito. Nabanggit nga ni Miss Vanny kanina, pen and paper. Si Sir Yoel, nakwento yung tungkol doon sa paggamit ng walkie-talkie. And gusto ko lang i-echo yung nabanggit ng isang kasamahan namin sa Benilde, no. Lagi niyang sinasabi na technology is just a tool. At the end of the day, yung teacher pa rin talaga yung importante sa pagtuturo. Meron bang gustong mag-share or to add to that? Lalo na from the audience. Wala na? Siguro yung next question, no, tanong ko na. This is more inclined sa inclusion naman. So isa sa mga tinanong ay, regarding inclusive hybrid teaching and learning for those who are with learning needs. So naka-focus tayo ngayon sa students with learning conditions. Can we make sure that students in our hybrid courses are learning with and from one another? How? And do you have any tips on how to ensure this? From the team, meron pang gustong sumagot? Sir Reuel, sige po.
Yes po, since nagtuturo nga po ako ay ginagamit ko po yung tawag na is collaborative learning po na paradigm. So kasi sabi ko nga sa mga estudyante ko na syempre well and good and madali naman talagang pag nagle-lecture tayo, no? So talagang teacher, student, lectures for example, discussion, graded recitation for example. Pero sabi ko sa kanila, we need to have some kind of interaction, no? Healthy interaction amongst you kahit online to. So what I do is I have mga group activities for example na that assign them to example. So minsan nag-random groupings or minsan they can choose their own example. Tapos sabi ko sa kanila magkakaroon sila ng group chat, may interaction sila, they will submit an assignment as a group for example. So pwede po siyang gawin. Although siguro it's a matter of delineating lang po yung mga instructions well and of course making sure that the tasks are distributed well sa lahat para fair po tayo. So gumagamit po ako ng mga yan sa classes ko. And I think na maganda po yung feedback din from the students since they see na although on one hand, sabi nga ng ibang estudyante na takot sila minsan sa mga group activities o minsan naman ay mas gusto talaga nilang mag-isa, no? Kasi syempre parang walang challenge na or walang difficulty kasi anytime pwede ako gumawa ng assignment. Pero pag may kagrupo ako, kailangan ko isipin muna yung kagrupo ko kung kailan siya pwede or kailan ako pwede. So parang they have to compromise. So may mga ganyan pong mga talagang parang barriers and difficulty and challenges. Pero more than that, I always try my best to explain to them that yung group activities po nila is also part of the training itself that to be a team player, to also prepare them for the future na they have to work with other people, even people that they don't like. So kaya yun po, pwede po nating maisama ito dun sa pedagogy o sa pagtuturo natin sa whether be online or face-to-face. Although sa face-to-face po way back before the pandemic, po siya. Yung nag-online po, kasi may mga tools naman po tayo, may mga discussion or yung breakout rooms, for example, may mga GC na pwede po nilang gamitin or iba nasa Discord or sa Facebook chat. Tapos they get to collaborate. May mga tools po tayo kagaya ng Google Docs din po. So, ayun po. So, possible po siya magagamit po natin.
Thank you, Sir Reuel. From the
Ako
CET.
po, Sir
Yes,
Jemai.
Sir Roger. Yes
Sa akin
po.
po yung experience ko naman as teacher. Totoo po yun may mga concerns po yung mga students natin with regard to grouping. Kasi meron pong mga groupmates that do not participate. May mga ganun talaga. So sa akin nakikita ko yun, how can we address that? Siguro yung pag-build ng relationship before you even group them. So siguro mas maganda if we could help them, facilitate them to building their relationship. Kasi pagka tingnan niyo po yung magkakakilala sa isang section. Maski magkakalayo yan, nakakapag-produce sila ng 'di ba, ng output nila. So, yun po yung nakikita kong possible solution for that. that we teachers help them build their relationship, yung friendship in the group, so that they could easily work with each other. So yun po yung nakikita ko pong possible resolution doon. Thank you.
Mag-add lang ako, Sir Jemay. Siguro,
Yes, ma'am.
ayan. I-recognize lang din siguro natin kasi sa hybrid learning environment, there are different types of interaction. It's not just interaction with your co-student. May interaction ka with your teacher. You also have an interaction with technology, the learning material. So, siguro as teachers, we have to also keep in mind na the learning materials that we produce should also be interactive to our students, whether individual or group work. And siguro at this time, na yung learning modes natin are very different, we also have to look into our assessments. How do we see assessments in our classroom? Kasi we can veer away from traditional methods of pen and paper, recitation, and all that, and produce yung mga learning and activities that would also require our students ng 21st century skills. Diba? Yung how can they be more creative, how can they be more collaborative, kasi yun na dapat ang critical thinkers, kasi yun na dapat yung goal natin for our students. And the way that we can do this for our students is if we as teachers also become 21st century learners and educators. So it takes a lot of effort kasi whether it's face-to-face, nag-e-effort ka naman eh. Diba? Nag-iisip ka pa rin, this term, your activity may change for the next terms. So it's the same with doing it online and in a hybrid environment. So it really takes time, it takes practice, and I think it takes heart for a teacher to produce these types of activities na hindi ka nagsisettle na naka-lecture-based ka. Kasi gusto mong malaman kung natututo talaga yung students mo. So you make use of all available tech, all available infrastructure, lahat ng methods na pwede mong isipin, gagawin mo siya. Kasi nga, at the end of what we do every day, our goal is to educate our students.
Thank you, Ms. Jo.
Sir
Meron
Jemay,
pa- Yes, sir.
share ko lang quickly yung result ng survey natin pertaining to engaging student satisfaction ratings on their course materials for hybrid classes. Nakikita na po ba yung aking screen? Not yet.
Loading pa po, sir.
Okay, loading pa. Siguro stop ko muna tapos i-share ko uli. Okay. Ayan. So medyo bumagal uli kami. Ito kung makakapag-share pa ako. Pero anyway, nakikita ko naman siya sa screen. When we ask the students how well, try ko ulit mag-share. Kasi maganda to dahil nabanggit ni Ma'am Jo. Magtanong din po kasi about the course materials. Ayan po. So we ask the students, how well do you feel you are able to engage in the course material for the hybrid modality? And it's good to know that yung mga estudyante naman natin, satisfied sila. More than, ilan po bang percent? 80 something, 86, ganun po siguro to. I'm not so sure. So 85 respondents said that 86%. So natutuwa sila because yung mga materials po, course materials na na-develop ng mga teachers natin, sabi naman ng mga students natin, we like it. Kung ilan mo 4.34/5, kung ilan man percentage, and that's more than 80. Kasi it's good to know na yung palang mga efforts na ginagawa halimbawa ni CFAD sa training ng faculty or ni CIE, di ba? Or even as a CET, meron siyang bunga, it has a fruit and it has a result. And this result is good for us kasi nakikita namin yung kumbaga yung fruit of labor nung katulad nga nung sabi ko kanina yung CFAD, yung nagte-training sila sa mga faculty natin. So may bunga yon at ang nagsasabi nun yung mga estudyante namin na nakapag-engage kami sa mga materials. Yun 86.8. So that's almost 87%. So ang taas po nun, di ba? Parang 87%. So kung gigrade na namin yung sarili namin na wow, 87% yung nagawa namin na contribute ng CFAD, ng CIE, ng CET doon sa mga faculty natin na eventually nagustuhan yon ng mga students natin. Yun lang po. Thank you.
Thank you, Sir Roger. Meron pa po bang gusto mag-add? Okay. Sa participants natin, sa audience members natin, meron ba kayong gustong i-share na tips? Kumbaga, ano yung ginawa ninyo habang ngayon na nag-hybrid tayo, no? Para ma-ensure na mas nag-engage ang mga estudyante natin sa isa't isa. Kasi malaking bagay talaga yun, yung pakikipag-engage sa kapwa-classmate. No? Meron po ba? Tahimik ang ating audience ngayon. No? Sige, para sa last question, at least ito yung huling tanong, no? Pero baka mamaya may humabol pa from the audience. What are the latest trends in teaching strategies? Sakto po na nandito ang ating Center for Faculty Advancement.
Siguro, sir, I've already mentioned it earlier, yung mga 21st century skills for educators and also finding yung education 4.0 with technology. Kailangan na talaga natin tanggapin na kasama yung technology. So kung ano man yung teaching practices natin pre-pandemic, traditional siya, pero pwede pa rin naman natin siyang i-apply ngayon with the use of technology and in looking at our students with full potential. Kasi yun naman yung sinasabi sa 4.0, di ba, Miss? Na when we teach, we look at our students as a collaborator in the classroom. Hindi na lang sila receiver. Kasi nga, tayo naman as Benildeans, we're already learner-centered. Pero baka kailangan pa natin siyang mas i-emphasize with the trainings that we have and also how we do it in our offices.
So, ika nga nabanggit na rin kanina yung mga ChatGPT and AI ganyan. Actually, hindi lang naman yun sa mga written documents. So we also have this mga design, di ba? So we work with those technologies. Pag intindihin natin how they work and we work with that, tapos i-level up din natin how we teach the students. Yung learning natin as faculty, at least, di ba? Maka ano naman lang tayo, maka one day ahead. Nandiyan na kasi lahat eh. If you remember, nung nag-start ang Google, nung nag-start ang internet, na-stress tayo bakit nandiyan na lahat ng materials. And we work with that. Diba? So ngayon, nandiyan na yung ChatGPT, ganyan, AI, etc. We work with those also. Pero but the thing is, paano natin gagawin yon? Mag-isip-isip din po. Okay? Kasi para makapag-isip din ang students natin. Alright? Okay, hindi ako magla-lecture.
Parang galit ko.
Thank you.
To add to that,
Yes, Mr. Adriano.
there was an naman issue pero parang may konting discussion before, especially during the lockdown, during the pandemic. Mawawala na ba yung university setup? Kasi lahat nag-online. Months ago, we were privileged enough to attend a certain conference, and one thing that struck me was two things pala. First, we should understand and accept that each and every one of us, you being a student, you being a teacher, nagpalit yung role mo, brought about the pandemic. Okay? Maybe nadagdagan yung responsibilidad mo. Maybe nag-iba yung responsibilidad mo. So you have to accept that. And second thing is that hindi kayang palitan, well, according to one of the speakers, hindi kayang palitan yung or sirain yung university setup or university model only because of one thing. It's because of human interaction. Human interaction brings more value to the learners and to the teachers doon sa learning experience. So with what Ms. Jo and Ms. Vani said, maybe we should also go back doon sa traditional naman, dun sa old school style of na wag natin kalimutan also yung value of human interaction. Malunod ka sa tech, malunod ka sa kahit ano, kung wala yung human interaction, maybe hindi siya ganon kalalim or hindi siya yung at least yung effect dun sa tao. Yeah, thanks.
Very well.
Thank you,
Yeah.
Mr. Adriano. Sige po, Sir Rioel.
Yes po. Of course, also po to add, isa pong trend that I would like, of course, to share to everyone and of course to the audience po natin is yung trend po ng yung gamifying po yung ating pedagogy. I'm not sure if you narinig niyo po yung gamification po. Kasi may mga tools po na libre, like hindi ko naman pinopromote, no? I'm sure na alam niyo na po siguro yung iba dito, pero yung iba po na baka hindi pa alam that you can look it up po yung Kahoot, for example, Quizzes, or even yung mga Wheel of Names, for example, or kung may LMS po kayo, minsan merong kagaya po sa amin kasi may mga awards and badges na minsan pag ginamit niyo po siya, talagang feel na feel po minsan ng mga estudyante, no, nag-uunahan sila or may parang healthy competition between them. Or minsan nga po, although minsan ko na po ginagamit kasi yan, kasi nakakapagod din po siya pag nag-game show kami, for example, sa klase. Medyo iba yung energy ng estudyante, parang hinahatak nila yung laro or yung energy punong-puno na nakakapagod. Pero nakakatuwa po kasi siya. Kasi pwede po natin gamitin itong ating technology na to, itong to gamify yung ating mga classes natin po para lalo maging mas engaged po yung ating mga estudyante. Kagaya nga po yung iba pong estudyante, minsan gumagamit ng Discord. I'm not sure kung familiar po kayo, minsan sa Discord or yung minsan yung iba may interaction po sila sa pag naglalaro silang online games, may mga ganyan po siya. So, possibly na pwede po natin gamitin yan or yung iba po kasi narinig ko yung Minecraft. I'm not sure kung familiar po kayo na minsan nagbi-build po sila or yung iba po siguro kung in connection of course to the lesson po nila na they could use these tools na very familiar yung ating mga students and of course to maximize po yung usage for the good of course of getting the students engaged and of course learning po in the process. Yun na po.
Thank you, Sir Rioel. Sige po, Sir Roger.
Thank you, Sir Yuel, for bringing those topics. At dahil dyan naalala ko yung intelligent agent. Sa amin pong learning management system, we have this what we call intelligent agents. And this is a kind of tool that we use to automate processes like if students do not log in for an number of days, we could set these intelligent agents to automatically send email or reminders to our students. Pwede rin siya na if let's say a student take exam and he did not reach a passing score, these intelligent agents can also be programmed to send an email. What's the problem? Maybe you could share it with me as a teacher. Or pwede rin siya gamitin on the other hand sa reinforcement like pag a certain student hit a certain grade, it could also send reinforcement saying congratulations, ang galing ng ginawa mo. So we have this intelligent agents that we could use in order to help teachers automate processes in their teaching and learning experiences. Thank you.
Thank you, Sir Roger. Meron pa po bang gusto mag-add? Sa audience natin? Wala pa rin. Miss Vanny, do you want to add something? Nakita namin yung reaction mo eh. Parang meron kang gustong sabihin.
Actually, ayun niya na sabihin.
Okay. Parang may participation tayo, no? Pwede mag-emoji ang ating mga Zoomies dito. Any emoji will do so that we will know that you're still here.
You're still
Parang
teacher checking attendance.
Oo. Teacher checking attendance. May I?
Sila rin yan.
Ha? Okay. All right. Very good. Oh, you have a star. So, wala ba kayong tanong? Ayan. Questions naman po. So we can, may interaction tayo ng konti. No? Ayan. Thank you.
Okay. Mukha namang walang tanong. So is it a good thing or a bad thing? Hindi, siguro I want to highlight yung nabanggit ni Miss Vanny kanina na as educators, we have to be at least 1 day ahead of our students kasi yung estudyante natin, ano sila eh, sila, ang sakit mang aminin pero ibang generation na sila sa atin. At ang generation nila ay yung literal na lahat ng information sa buong mundo ay hawak nila sa kanilang palad. At tayo bilang educators, kailangan nating, again, maging at least one day ahead sa kanila. Kasi pag-iwanan tayo. Yes, finally may nagtaas ng kamay. Miss Mary Ann Gutierrez, do you have a question?
No, it's not a question po, but
Yes.
more of, I don't know what it is, perhaps a comment with regard to Sir Delcano's, Sir Roger kanina, yung, I think one of the results why then, accordingly, majority of the part-timers answered the question with regard to the promotion of inclusion, mas positive yung part-timer tsaka yung mga students po. Tama po ba, Sir Roger? That they are aware that there is really existing or they could feel the promotion of inclusion in the school, whereas the full-timers, more or less parang less yung responses po or negative, that they could not feel it, or perhaps sabi po nung isang nagsalita ay nakukulangan. So it's something like a challenge on the part of the concerned schools, no, to do something. Ako po ang parang the way I look at it, one could be the behind factor. I think I might be incorrect. Because there might be those who had answered full-timers, might have experienced less time in the school than the part-timers. Kasi there are many part-timers in the school. That's what I'm only talking on my end. They stayed in the school for more than 2 decades. And there are full-timers who might have been in the school for less than a decade or so. So definitely, these part-timers could feel almost everything, diba? From the start, Moodle pa and everything, yung typing system pa noon, up to this point, they know that the school never stops. And that's something good. I think that's something I really admire about our school. And add to that would be yung experience ko dyan sa ating hybrid. I had a chance last term po for the, what subject is the CSB Live, no? There are a lot of technical issues or glitches. Although we were trained by attorney, I forgot, or architect, sorry, no? We were trained still, since it's new, we were really groping more or less half-half. And I believe, Sir Roger, you were even there, no? There was even a time. But there was worse scenario in my class. 3-hour class po yon, CSB Live. Almost everybody was there from, I don't know, different departments. But still, the issue was not resolved. Matatapos na yung 3-hour class ko. They could not find what's really the problem. And I think Sir Genesis already made a suggestion. Pag-usapan nila, this is one of the things that they would settle. Kasi talagang hindi nila makita yung anong problem, why I cannot pursue with my, I don't know, with my discussion or lecture. Pero ang something positive na sinabi ko sa mga bata, kasi cross sila eh. Ayokong pagdating ng second term, magda-drop na sila or lilipat na sila ng school. Kasi we're bragging, more or less we're good in this and technology. Ang sinabi kong in-emphasize ko sa mga bata, you see, something beautiful about the school. No matter what the problem is, everybody will be there willing to help. So yun yung kasi hindi ko na ma-justify eh. Matatapos na yung 3-hour class ko, hindi pa rin ma-resolve yung hybrid problem na yun. Whatever the technical picture. So ang punto ko dito is, perhaps if it is a new teacher, I don't know what really be the reaction. Paano niya iaangat yung school? Imagine, magti 3 hours na, tatapos na yung class niya. Lahat na ng department halos nandun na. Talagang full support. Ang pinakita ko sa bata, this is something that you would admire about our school. No matter what, walang iwanan. Lahat mangingialam, lahat will try their best to solve it. Para, kahit hindi, I'm trying my best to use na lang yung cellphone ko just to proceed with the lecture. Although my problem din at that time yung connection. But still, yung something positive na ganun mag-relief ng spirit ng mga bata, hindi ako lilipat ng school, no? So, that's it. Kasi nakita ko yung effort lahat halos pumunta na doon, pati si Sir Genesis. Kaya, one thing good about Sir Jen, then sinabi niya, ayaw niyang mapahiya, lahat nandun di ba? Sabi niya, ma'am, and then the class, we will try to resolve this. This is our main focus for this meeting, ma'am. Huwag kang mag-alala. And then the following sessions, okay na po. Although, pagdating ng mga after few weeks po, may mga problem na rin. But it was resolved. So that's the beauty of it. Laging may challenge. But the thing there is, how will you look the positive thing out of chaos? Kasi bago lahat Napakahirap talaga. Gusto ko na nga mag-hire ng chiropractor noon Kasi talagang gumaganon yung leg ko Hindi pa ready yung big screen and everything, no? And then all my students are supportive. Ma'am, ganito gawin mo. Okay? Kasi I'm really having a difficulty. Talagang nakaganon na yung leg ko, cardio. No? Kailangan mo yun. But thank you. And these things, everything that you shared, even this study, I think I'm one of those who answered this survey na to. I think yun yung isa. Might be for that thing that Sir Delcano had shared kanina po. Thank you so much po.
Miss Marie, thank you very much dun sa pag-share ninyo. And shout out kay Mr. Adriano na bentang-benta, no? Fine. Sino
Yes,
ba?
sir.
Yes. Yes, Miss Gladys.
Yeah, I'd like to make a follow-up on what Ms. Gutierrez just mentioned. Actually, I'm interested to find out, because we've been talking about the concept of inclusion, but since she opted to point out the difference on the responses of the full-time faculty members and the part-time faculty members with regard to the promotion of inclusion. I'm actually interested to find out on how our faculty members and even the students and the entire Benilde community understand the concept of inclusion. Because it's a concept that doesn't have an exact meaning. As a matter of fact, academically, it has diverse meanings. So it would be interesting to find out ano yung difference ng pag-understanding ng concept of inclusion or meaning of inclusion for the part-timers, the staff members, the other employees, and the entire community. And another interesting point, Sir Adriano, I'm interested also to know if we have a database with regard to the number of students with disabilities, so we can track every term or every year, nag-i-increase ba yung number of students natin with disabilities. Kasi ang Philippines mahina talaga with regard to statistics of people with disabilities in our country. Maybe we can start in our own community to have parang database and record para we can monitor, di ba? How many students have been enrolling in our institution with disabilities specifically. But let me remind you also that inclusion doesn't only talk about disabilities. There are other factors also involved when we talk about inclusion. That's it.
Thank you po, Miss Gladys. So, syempre ako sasagot na to, no? Shout out po muna sa aming office director na si Mr. Martin Romero. Sige po, ako na munang sasagot on behalf of CIE, no? Una, thank you po sa sagot. Ay, sa tanong. Number one, what is Benildean inclusion? Yes, tama po kayo. Maraming definition ng inclusion, ang inclusive education. Pwede nating tingnan yung sa United Nations, pwede nating tingnan yung sa dictionary. Pero Benilde has its own definition of what Benildean inclusion is. So, short story time. As early as 2016 or 2017, the Center for Inclusive Education and some administrators ng Benilde ay nag-draft ng Benilde. Ang tawag sa document ay Benildean for All framework. So we have a framework about what Benildean inclusion is, and we defined what Benildean inclusion is doon sa document na yon. So first, siguro ano na rin, no, disclaimer, the document ay available lang siya for Benildeans kasi na-classify siya as a trade secret. So, I'm sorry for those na non-Benildeans. I hope you would understand, no, na hindi namin pwede siyang i-share sa maraming tao. Pero sige, to answer your question, ang Benildean inclusion ay focused sa pagbigay ng reasonable accommodations to our students. Okay? Regardless of their background, regardless of their condition, or regardless if may condition ba sila. Okay. Ang isa sa mga center na nag-handle niyan, ang Center for Inclusive Education. Si CIE, ang mandate niya, specifically ay to support students, sorry, I have to qualify this. Declared students, declared meaning upon admission, sinabi nila na they have this specific condition, this learning need, okay? To give them reasonable accommodations para kumbaga mabalance yung playing field in terms of their academics. Okay, let me be clear. Uulitin ko lang, reasonable accommodations, walang special treatment. Ang ginagawa lang namin ay bigyan sila ng, nilelevel lang talaga ang playing field. So, ano siya, tawag dito, it's more about equity, not equality. Okay, so yung number one. Another center that handles or that supports inclusion ay yung ating Benilde Wellbeing Center. So for those who are not familiar, yan ang nag-handle ng, well, sila ang guidance counselors natin sa ibang schools, guidance counseling. Okay. So, yun, unlike the Center for Inclusive Education, general population ang hawak nila na students. Okay? And sila rin yung nag-handle ng students na merong psycho-emotional needs. So kung makikita nyo, no, magkahiwalay talaga ang CIE and guidance counseling or BWC. Si CIE, learning needs, so parang ADHD, autism, etc. BWC, sila yung merong tawag dito, psycho-emotional needs such as depression and anxiety. Okay. So that's my answer for my for the first question. Yung second question naman about databases. Yes, we do have. Pero we have to be mindful about the data privacy, no? So ang nakakakita lang nito ng database na to ay yung Center for Inclusive Education, and to be more specific, yung learning support unit namin. To be perfectly honest, no, maski ako, wala akong, kahit na part ako ng CIE, wala akong access dito agad. Kasi ganun namin kalakas bina-value ang data privacy. So meron lang certain people within our center na may access doon. So paano malalaman ng professors if meron silang student, no? Syempre kailangan bigyan ng heads up. So sa CIE meron kaming tawag dito, meron kaming case managers na nag-handle ng students na mayroong learning conditions. Then sila yung nag-i-email sa mga professors kung na, oy, heads up, merong tawag dito. Well, hindi naman ganun ka-informal, no? Pero heads up, meron kayong student na merong learning condition. And yun. It's also important to point out na yung students under CIE ay tinituruan namin, lalo na ng learning support unit, on how to be independent and how to self-advocate. The idea here is that sila na mismo yung lalapit sa kanilang professors na, sir or miss or doc, I have this condition and ito yung official documents ko from the Center for Inclusive Education and I need reasonable accommodations. So yun po ang sagot ko at sana nasagutan mo lahat, no?
Okay, sir. Sir,
Yeah,
actually, I'm
thank you.
aware about the meaning of inclusion based on Benilde institution. I was actually referred to the UN definition by Sir Parinas when I asked him one time in our when we had a meeting when we were revising the Benildean expressions. Okay, but what the meaning that I'm trying to look for is based on the experiences of the students and the faculty members. I think that's what I am more interested to know. Yung talagang lived experiences nila on inclusion in our community. And then I'm not sure if you have a collaboration with the Benilde Wellbeing Center. Kasi I understand the cases of emotional and behavioral disorders are actually the task of the are assigned to that center. So maybe you can collaborate so we can really determine with regard to the number of our students who need accommodations, because I believe that even people with EBDs also need accommodations.
Yes, Miss Gladys, thank you for that. No, number one, yung framework yung nabanggit ko kanina, it's a ground up thing. Yung story ko kanina, kaya as early as 2017 siya sinimulan. 2016, 2017. At natapos siya ng 2019 kasi based siya sa series of workshops. Yung definition para lang mabuo yung framework and yung definition, series of workshops with the Benildean community, different sectors actually. Meron silang mga representatives. So, para siyang grounded theory na, kumbaga, galing sa grassroots, yung pagbuo namin doon sa framework and sa definition. So, yan. And for BWC naman, for our guidance counseling, yes, we do have a collaboration with them. We do collaborate. Madalas, actually, almost every day, lagi namin silang kinakausap, about it. Again, we have clear jurisdictions kung sino yung maghahawak ng ganito. Pero, just in case may intersectionalities, like for example, si student ay meron siyang learning need, let's say autism, tapos meron din siyang depression, nagkakaroon ng meeting between CIE and BWC with that. So, as you can see, Benildean inclusion, it's a collaborative thing between numerous centers and offices. So, hindi lang siya si CIE parate. I know na ito na, let us all welcome Mr. Martin Cyrus Romero, the OIC Director of the Center for Inclusive Education.
Thank you, Sir Jemai. I just wanna answer for the question of Miss Gladys, particularly the yung collaboration between BWC. Yes, po, Miss Gladys, we do have a collaboration with BWC, but with select students lang po, because we have in Benilde comorbid cases, meaning a certain student has like
two or more condition.
One condition po. So one of it is learning need, the other one is a psycho-emotional. So doon lang po kami nagkakaroon ng collaboration. With regards to the accommodations po that you asked po, BW has their own set of accommodation. Yun po yung they have their own policy din po so when it comes to assisting declared students with psycho-emotional concerns. So yun po, hindi po namin jurisdiction sadly. No? So kaya po we're not technically assisting students with pen as long as wala po silang learning. Pero kung meron po, doon po kami pumapasok. So doon po yung na-mention mo ni Sir Jemai na collaboration between the two centers. But aside from that, Ms. Gladys, we do have a skill-based program po that's a collaboration din po between BWC and CIE. So we help our respective diagnosed and disclosed student in TIE and BWC to be, I guess, taught with various life skills that they can use in their stay in Benilde and hopefully once they leave Benilde po. So yun po yung collaboration po namin between the two centers. Ayun nga lang po talaga, madalas po siya na-interchange kasi nga po, medyo bago po kasi yung CIE, usually pagkakamalan din kaming counselor, something like that. So yun po yung difference between us. They have their own set of accommodation, we have our own set of accommodation. So yung jurisdiction lang po talaga namin are those students with declared learning need po. So yun po yung mostly na-assist pa lang po ng CIE kasi medyo bago pa po yung concept of inclusion. Earlier I heard po na parang technically inclusion is for everyone, something like that, which is in a perfect world, yun naman po talaga. But sadly, yun nga po right now, medyo one step at a time po muna tayo since we technically just started last 2017, something like, or 2016, around that time. So doon po muna kami nag-start and eventually mag-increase naman po, and actually may gender na po eventually na napag-uusapan po, something like that. But for now, at least policy-wise, nandun pa lang po sa pen and sa learning needs. Ayun ba?
Can I add something, sir? Actually, the concept of inclusion has been existing in the 90s pa. Kaya lang, as always, ang Pilipinas late lagi in practicing this kind of concept. But of all, if I may say this, of all the schools that I have been to, I don't have to mention every school where I have taught. I'm really proud of Benilde with the kind of inclusion campaign that it has started. Okay, I think since the time that I started in Benilde, I have seen how dynamic the dedication of the faculty members and the administration in their campaign for inclusion. I just wish that it would be adopted in other that's my vision for the Philippines, to be adopted by other schools also, both public and private colleges and universities.
May I add to that Mr. Adriano?
Yes, go on, Mr. Adriano.
It seems that Miss Gladys is very much into inclusion. So I suggest that, maybe you can tap her as one of your champions in the coming terms. Maybe, right? So, yun lang. Thank you.
But thank you, sirs, for answering my questions and giving your insights.
Yes, Miss. Thank you. Thank you very much for raising that, no? Maganda rin na napag-uusapan to at nare-raise din to sa mga ganitong forum. And I guess we could leave it with pwede na tayong tumigil sa ating Q&A, no? We're tawag dito, magkukulang na tayo ng time. So once again, thank you very much to the CET team. Si Attorney Shayan ay nauna na. Sayang, of course, CFAD na bigla ang na-top for this one. Thank you very much. Sir Martin, thank you very much din. And lalong-lalo na sa mga nagtanong. Thank you very much. Let me turn over you guys to Miss Camille.
Thank you, Sir Jemay, Sir Roger, Architect Nandi, Sir Jen, Sir Yuel, Attorney Shai, Miss Bunny, and Miss Jo, no? And of course, to our audience. So that was really a substantial and fruitful conversation, very relevant to our current situation in Benilde. So before we end, I would like to invite Sir Martin, the OIC Director of CIE, to present the Certificate of Appreciation to our guest speakers, a quick photo op, and of course, to wrap us.
Okay, so thank you, Ms. Camille. All right, I'm going to present now the certificate of appreciation to our speakers. So let me call on first Sir Roger Delcano. Although sama-sama naman po kayo dyan. So isang photo op na lang po tayo later, but I'll read first the certificate. So this certificate of appreciation is presented to Mr. Rogelio Delcano for sharing his expertise at the downloading an inclusive hybrid teaching and learning forum webinar on March 1, 2023. Signed, Clifford Chua, Learning Support Head, Center for Inclusive Education. Signed, Martin Romero, OIC Director, Center for Inclusive Education. And signed, Jeremiah Soadriano, Inclusion Advocacy Unit Head, Center for Inclusive Education. So sir, photo op lang po tayo, kahit group photo po. Ay, kahit nasa isang group na lang po kayo. Sige po, Sir Cliff, we ask po for you to take our photo.
Okay. Okay, Sir Mart. So 1, 2, 3. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Okay. Next, this certificate of appreciation is presented to Architect Ferdinand de la Paz, again, for sharing his expertise at the now loading inclusive hybrid teaching and learning forum webinar on March 1, 2023. Signed, Clifford Chua, Learning Support Head, CIE. Signed, Martin Romero, OIC Director, CIE. Signed, Jeremiah Adriano, Inclusion Advocacy Unit Head, CIE. And also, I would like to present this certificate to Mr. Genesis Adriano, again, for sharing his expertise as the downloading an inclusive hybrid teaching and learning forum webinar, March 1, 2020. So Sir Jen and architect Nandi, the photo will po kahit nandyan lang po kayo. Okay. All right. Sige pa, circulate.
1, 2, 3.
Thank you, sir. Okay, for the last set of certificate, this certificate of appreciation is presented to Mr. Reuel Rito Senyo for sharing his expertise at the Now Loading an Inclusive Hybrid Teaching and Learning Forum webinar, March 1, 2023, and to Attorney Shireen Juan Monera, again, for sharing her expertise at the Now Loading an Inclusive Hybrid Teaching and Learning Forum webinar, March 2023. So, Sir Ruel, take a photo. Can someone have? Ayan, there you go. Okay, sige po, sir.
3, 2, 1. Thank you.
Okay, all right. Thank you. Thank you po again to Sir Roger, to Sir Jen, Architect Nandi, to Sir Ruel, Attorney Shai, to Miss Vanny, and to Miss John for being part of our talk po. Okay. Gems, do I start with the closing?
Yes, sir.
All right. Good. So, hi everyone. I'll make this quick because we're almost 5 na, no? But first of all, I would like to again thank our CET partner for being here with us, for sharing their expertise with regards to this matter, to Miss Vanny and Miss Joda for joining CET kasi nadami po kayo, napabigay din po kayo ng inyong thoughts and answers to some of the questions. So we really appreciate you for being here with us. To our interpreters, again, maraming salamat po for being here and for helping our deaf attendees to be able to learn more about our webinars. To our organizers, the TIE team, maraming salamat po. Again, gusto ko lang din magpasalamat ulit to all the participants who are here, who stayed. Hopefully, you guys learned a lot from this webinar. I just want to highlight some things that we could use after this webinar. So first, if you remember, the team of Sir Roger presented statistics about like accommodation and everything. I heard earlier that medyo mataas pa rin yung those who I guess who doesn't know or who don't know na nagiging accommodating na pala sila, or if they're accommodating enough. And meron din iba na feeling nila kulang yung nabibigay ng Benilde in terms of assistance sa pagdating sa inclusion. We can probably look at it on a more positive way, no? I firmly, or at least I've always believed na inclusion is a marathon, not a sprint. So malayo talaga, matagal talaga siya. And getting a 70+% from the research, in a way, is some sort of a validation for us in the community that we've siguro nakalayo na tayo, came a long way. Because when we started talagang something new, maraming may ayaw, but we were able to gather good number, them feeling that they're already accommodating and they're being accommodated by their respective professors. But then again, the reality of inclusion, marami rin kasi talagang barriers, no? That's why it's really in a way good to know that we still have people who aren't really sure if they're accommodating or if they're being accommodated. So siguro, moving forward, this will be our target, no? When we have webinars, when we have trainings, no? When we start our inclusion culture building in our respective institution, no? Mahabang process po talaga inclusion, and I'm happy that we've in a way came a long way na po, nakalayo na po tayo kahit paano. Then I just want to highlight din po yun sa hybrid teaching. I was talking to the CIE team, no, na parang napabilis kasi yung pag-implement ng hybrid. Although matagal na siya, pero parang na-expedite siya for a while. So I told them na parang nakita ko yung start ng inclusion initiative ng Benilde na maraming growing pains. So we had a lot of concerns, but yun nga, siguro through patience and through the siguro yung pag-buy-in ng mga tao, we eventually, ito na, mas nakalayo na tayo. So hopefully ganun din tayo sa hybrid teaching, and hopefully sa other institutions ng mga umattend dito, makapag-start din tayo and lumayo tayo dun sa ating goal in having a hybrid teaching. And speaking of culture building, I just want to highlight in some Q&A na it's really important to have the culture building of kung ano man yung gusto natin gawin, magpa-inclusion, magpa-hybrid teaching. It's really, really important to have the buy-in of people. It's really important to start the idea to the community, kasi if wala talagang buy-in, then it'll be hard for us to start the initiative. Magkakaroon tayo ng concerns and everything. So hopefully, this talk inspired everyone here to start being a champion of inclusion, a champion of hybrid teaching. So hopefully we can use this after this call, after this webinar rather. Hopefully we can use this to our respective departments, respective institutions, respective companies, something like that. So yun lang naman. Again, maraming salamat sa lahat na umattend. Hopefully this won't be the last time that I will see you. As presented earlier at the start, we'll be having another one. Ipa-plug ko na rin po, on March 20 to 24, we'll be having Inclusion Week 2023. Then particularly on on March 21, I will be having a talk about the the topic is about LGBTQ community. So yun lang po. Again, maraming salamat po, and enjoy the rest of your day.
Okay, thank you so much, Sir Martin, for your warm closing remarks. Before we formally close the program po, we would like to take a couple minutes of your time to answer our feedback form. So kindly scan the QR code flash on your screen or click the link sent via chat box. Okay, so while answering, once again, we would like to thank Sir Roger, Architect Nandi, Sir Jen, Sir Ruel, Attorney Shai, Miss Bunny, and Miss Jo for all of your meaningful discussions and inspiring messages for our participants. We would also like to thank the Center for Inclusive Education, Center for Educational Technology, and Best Buddies for making this webinar possible. So let us all give them a warm virtual round of applause. We would also like to acknowledge our FSL interpreters, Ms. Ember and Ms. Rhea, and the team behind this event. Right, and of course, to our dear audience, we would like to express our sincerest appreciation and gratitude for your patience, understanding, and ultimately making time and showing up here to join us this afternoon. For the last time, this has been Camille, your host for today's webinar. Thank you so much and have a wonderful evening. It's 5 p.m. already. Stay safe always and may you have a happy Wednesday. Thank you.